Chapter 1141 Refusal to Listen or Believe. The Time Path Immortal Killer move was already quietly activated inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was affected by the killer move, its body's time was rapidly quickened by countless times, making it mature quickly. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle cried out, feeling extremely unwell. On one hand, it was because its body was growing rapidly, while on the other hand, it was hungry. It required many heavenly crystals to fill its stomach every day. Right now, in just one breath, a day had passed for its body, and with its body growing continuously, how could it not feel hungry? Naturally, Fan had considered this situation as well, so there was another immortal killer move which was used specially to make up for this flaw. At the same time, the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle huddled up in the Heavenly Crystal Eagle nest and began to eat madly. Only such a two-pronged approach could sustain its growth. This was a quick growth method and had a lot of flaws. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle had been in contact with Fang Yuan for a very short time, now with its strength suddenly increasing, it would become more bestial and would not be easy to control. Moreover, the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle's growth rate was sped up too much, and there was no way for it to adapt and get familiar with its growth, so it might not be able to use even 30% of its strength. However, Fang Yuan had no other choice. He was in a desperate situation and this was his only hope to get out of this predicament. He was like a drowning man who was firmly grasping onto the sole life-saving straw. Myriad Self was continuously activated, the once powerful killer move had now become the only reliance for Fang Yuan to stall for time. He had used Familiar Face to disguise himself and mixed in among the Strength Path Phantoms, the enemy GU Immortals had not discovered him since the start. The tornadoes wreaked havoc, during which the enemy GU Immortals had each made their moves, their powerful killer moves shrouding the entire battlefield. Fang Yuan's Strength Path Phantoms could only last about 1 or 2 breaths of time before they were destroyed. He had never activated Myriad Self as frequently as now. Fortunately, Myriad Self was created by him, and by now, he was so proficient with it that it had turned into an instinct and there had yet to be failure when activating it. However, his Green Grape Immortal Essence Reserve was rapidly dwindling. Regarding Immortal Essence Reserves, Fang Yuan was completely in a disadvantage, he naturally had no way to compare with the 9 enemy GU Immortals. This guy's concealment skill is quite amazing. An enemy GU Immortal praised. Relax, as long as this battlefield killer move, Grey Cloud Battle Puppet, is here, we don't have to worry about him escaping. Another GU Immortal replied. HMPH, rat-like thing, come out. The earlier you die, the earlier you can be free from suffering. The 4 rank 7 GU Immortals did not speak, but the other 5 rank 6 GU Immortals yelled, vainly attempting to shake Fang Yuan's will. But could Fang Yuan waver so easily? His will was firmer than steel, even when he was in danger, he would not give up trying until the very last moment. Since he was using a stalling tactic, Fang Yuan would never reveal himself. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was growing rapidly, it already gave a trace of an ancient desolate beast's aura. As for the Heavenly Crystal Eagle nest, it was already eaten by over half. But this growth rate was still far from enough. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was the key for this battle. The enemy has the numerical advantage, their immortal killer moves also seem to be endless. Once I take out the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle, if my breakthrough attempt fails, I will probably be immediately dealt with the next moment. I won't have any second chance. I must succeed in one try. Just as he thought of it, Fang Yuan suddenly heard a chuckle by his ear. Hee, found you. This was a female GU Immortal's voice. At that instant, Fang Yuan's hair stood on end, and without caring about exposing his true self, he activated Sword Escape Immortal GU. He flew towards the sky. Almost at the same time, frost condensed on his original spot, quickly forming into thick ice the size of a pavilion. He's quite fast, a rank 6 GU Immortal said in surprise. Her voice was the same voice that had sounded by Fang Yuan's ear. Shui'er, you succeeded. Not bad, a rank 7 GU Immortal praised. Thank you, Great Grandma. The female GU Immortal seemed to be happy, although I cannot break through his disguise, every time he activates his killer move to create those phantoms, the aura of the killer move will leak out. He might be heavily concealed, but it is of no use. As the frequency increased, I discovered him. Good, let me see where you can escape. Another rank 7 GU Immortal shouted, directly charging towards Fang Yuan. He was extremely fast. Shortly afterwards, he reached Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan recognized this GU Immortal, this person was the one who had shot the ice spear before. Die. The rank 7 GU Immortal clenched his fists, instantly 2 ice spears condensed in his hands. A close combat GU Immortal. A sharp light flashed past Fang Yuan's eyes, and he quickly retreated. However, sword escape was actually unable to throw the enemy off. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk slightly as he noticed his body was covered in a layer of thin gray clouds. It was the cause of his reduction in speed. While on the other side, the rank 7 GU Immortal's speed seemed to have been increased. If I let you escape freely, would not it make me look incompetent? The GU Immortal controlling the battlefield killer move was standing straight, with his hands folded in front of his chest, watching the battle situation from afar. Fang Yuan was forced to engage in close combat. This rank 7 GU Immortal was very powerful with outstanding fighting skill. Within several moves, Fang Yuan's left arm and stomach were pierced. Blood Acid Immortal GU was heavily injured. Large amounts of fragmentary ice and snowpath Dao marks were engraved on Fang Yuan's wounds, making them difficult to heal. Cold air entered his limbs and bones, further lowering his speed. The Sovereign Immortal body's disadvantage appeared for the first time. There were no conflicts between Dao marks, causing Fang Yuan to be easily injured. Previously, Fang Yuan was defending and painstakingly dodging around. But at this moment, he had no choice but to face the consequences of this weakness. Die. The enemy's offense was extremely fierce. He thrusted the ice spear in his right hand towards Fang Yuan's forehead, while quietly moving the ice spear in his left hand towards Fang Yuan's heart. Blood Torrent. Fang Yuan suddenly changed his killer move, bizarrely curving around and dodging the enemy's attack. Blood Path. A rank 6 among the GU Immortals blurted in shock. He is indeed an unforgivable sinner. He actually cultivates Blood Path. We can be considered to be eliminating an evil, helping the people of the world. I had been somewhat suspicious of that defensive killer move earlier. So it was like this. The GU Immortal dual-wielding spears was filled with even more killing intent, as he pounced over again. Giant Hand. Fang Yuan suddenly slammed, a strength path giant hand flew out. In such a short distance, the GU Immortal with dual spears was unable to dodge. But he had not even thought of dodging. Head on. He pierced the giant hand with his 2 spears, and continued to chase Fang Yuan. Since he could fight in close range, he naturally had extremely outstanding defensive methods. If not for this, how could he dare to take the risk? The 2 spears in his hands intertwined into dense spear shadows, fully displaying the advantage of a close combat GU Immortal's attack speed. Close combat GU Immortals were few in numbers, they had once flourished in ancient times, but were now almost extinct. However, if such a GU Immortal manages to get near to the opponent, they would become an extreme threat. Fang Yuan was constantly in a life and death situation, he had to pay close attention to the enemy's movements, and slight negligence could result in him dying. Fang Yuan possessed many immortal killer moves, but in close combat, in most cases, he could only concentrate on dodging. Because there was no time to use any complicated immortal killer moves, and once his response was delayed, it could be his death. Fang Yuan's momentum was already destroyed, he was barely able to continue for a while before the enemy finally found a gap and pierced a spear through his heart. It is over. At this moment, the enemy's expression was slightly relaxed. Man as before. As Fang Yuan erupted, he used Man as before Immortal GU to restore the fatal injuries. Then using Dark Assassination, he shot towards the enemy's head. In an instant, Fang Yuan had established his victory. He had been concealing Man as before, waiting for this battle opportunity. Sounds of shock rose, but the GU Immortals were not angry. At the next instant, Fang Yuan saw a strange sight. The enemy's head was not made of blood and flesh, and was completely formed from gray clouds. The gray clouds scattered before condensing, and the dual spear-wielding GU Immortal shook his newly formed head, laughing, "Not bad. You could actually destroy my head, HMPH. Human GU Immortals are so crafty, if it were normal times, I would have already died. Unfortunately, this is within Gray Cloud Battle Puppet, an immortal-level battlefield." Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk to pin size. He suffered a loss. Not knowing the mechanism of this battlefield killer move led to an error in judgment. Although this is the first time I have heard of Gray Cloud Battle Puppet, it is truly a fierce battlefield killer move. Fang Yuan let out a breath, his whole body was filled with injuries. He had intentionally concealed Man as before and used it at the crucial time, but his painstaking plan had been thwarted by Gray Cloud Battle Puppet. That goes without saying, this was created by Lady Earth Mother. The dual spear-wielding GU Immortal spoke with pride. Fang Yuan took the chance to look at his immortal aperture. The upper extreme heavenly eagle had already grown into an immemorial desolate beast. However, it was near death. The heavenly crystals were already finished, and it was now starving to death. Fang Yuan quickly dispelled the effect of the Immortal Killer move on the upper extreme heavenly eagle and attempted to feed other things to it. However, the upper extreme heavenly eagle kept its mouth closed. Damn it, earlier, I was too busy dealing with the enemy, I simply had no time to be concerned about the upper extreme heavenly eagle's situation. Fang Yuan's heart sank to rock bottom. His final trace of hope was gone. In this battlefield killer move, the enemies could not die. Fang Yuan did not have any strategy to ensure his victory. Dealing with just one rank 7 GU Immortal was difficult, not to mention there was also the Dragon Immemorial Desolate Beast that had not moved from the start. What now? Death was already approaching close. Young man, leave your name. You are a worthy adversary. After this life of mine, my battle with you shall be remembered as a glory by my descendants. The dual spear-wielding GU Immortal pressed on forward. The atmosphere was solemn, other GU Immortals did not speak anything to stop him, seemingly approving of the dual spear-wielding GU Immortal's words. Fang Yuan, however, revealed a confident smile. My name is not important, what is important is my status. I am a supreme elder of Langya Blessed Land, a member of a variant human force. In the current situation of the world, we variant humans should not take up arms against each other, isn't that the case? Snowmen, rockmen and hairy men should help each other, not have internal fights which will instead please enemies. How do you know? The dual-wielding GU Immortal was extremely surprised. He actually knows of our identities. Quick, kill him. Human GU Immortals have always been crafty, don't listen to his misleading words. The other GU Immortals cried out, almost screaming. What Langya Blessed Land? Also, you are clearly a human, what hairy man? Do you think I am blind? The dual spear-wielding GU Immortal furiously pierced forward with his spears. Fang Yuan exposed their identities, but they simply did not listen to or believe Fang Yuan's words. Chapter 1142 Bluffing, Deceiving. The dual spear-wielding GU Immortal rushed towards Fang Yuan. Variant humans are indeed stubborn. Or is this the influence of heaven's will? HMPH. Fang Yuan's gaze turned dark, he looked at the dual spear-wielding GU Immortal charging at him, but he did not dodge or retreat. Boom! At the next moment, he opened the entrance to his sovereign immortal aperture and released a gigantic beast. Ah, this is. The dual spear-wielding GU Immortal felt a majestic aura that instantly overwhelmed his body and mind. His momentum stopped abruptly, and his battle intent had dispersed at that very instant. What Fang Yuan released was none other than the upper extreme heavenly eagle that had now matured to immemorial level. A truly mature upper extreme heavenly eagle was extremely huge, multiple times the size of a whale, it did not lose out even when compared to that immemorial dragon desolate beast. The immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle was a terrifying rank 8 level battle force. Shock. Instantly, the enemy immortals were all shocked and dumbstruck. They had never expected Fang Yuan to still be holding such a card in reserve. This trump card was too strong. The dual spear-wielding GU Immortal was almost trembling from fear. The atmosphere of the whole battlefield had instantly transformed completely. Fang Yuan stood proudly on the upper extreme heavenly eagle's head, and coldly snorted, why do you think I was fearless since the start? Even if your battlefield killer move is powerful, could it obstruct my upper extreme heavenly eagle? The enemy immortals' bodies jolted upon hearing this. Upper extreme heavenly eagle. According to legends, this eagle is a space path immemorial desolate beast that can avoid the heavenly wind chi wall and enter the immemorial 9 heavens. Not only this, it can also pierce through space and enter grotto heavens. Our battlefield killer move cannot trap it. The group of immortals communicated in fluster. Fang Yuan had a confident smile on his face. Even if you use that dragon immemorial desolate beast, I am confident of escaping. But what I said before is all true. I simply don't need to deceive you, and even if I wanted to deceive you, such a shoddy lie could easily be exposed. Why would I waste my time? The enemy immortals fell into silence. The mountain-like upper extreme heavenly eagle was the best evidence of Fang Yuan's words. The dual spear-wielding GU Immortal was the nearest, the upper extreme heavenly eagle filled his whole vision. Despite the upper extreme heavenly eagle slightly closing its eyes, the cold light leaking out of the crack of its eyes still made him feel like he had fallen into an icy abyss. Did you verify it? Is it real or not? The GU Immortals secretly transmitted their voices. It was rather ironic. Just before, when Fang Yuan was ambushed and saw this terrifying battle formation, the first thing he felt was doubt at whether this was real or an illusion. Now, after Fang Yuan released the upper extreme heavenly eagle, these GU Immortals were experiencing the same thing. It is real. That rank 6 GU immortal called Shui spoke with shock. Moreover, that upper extreme heavenly eagle's vitality is extremely flourishing, don't be fooled by its unmoving and harmless look. Once it attacks, it would definitely be earth-shaking. Soon, the rank 7 GU immortals confirmed one after the other. He only has a blessed land, how could he store an immemorial desolate beast? Although it is unimaginable, it is the truth. What should we do? He can use an immemorial desolate beast, could it be that we also have to send out the immemorial rock dragon? In fact, the dragon beast in Grey Cloud Battle Puppet was not as intimidating as it appeared. Although the aura was real, it could not fully display its rank 8 battle strength. There were many reasons. Grey Cloud Battle Puppet did not have a core rank 8 immortal GU, and was not suitable for use on rank 8 level existences. Another reason was, the Snowman and Rockman GU immortals' main bodies were far below underground. They put in their respective GU worms and immortal essence in this Grey Cloud Battle Puppet, forming battle puppets that were not weaker than the main bodies. That is to say, the power of Grey Cloud Battle Puppet originated from the remote control of the GU immortals, and the immortal essence along with GU worms concealed in the battle puppets. The battlefield killer move could form a Grey Cloud Battle Puppet corresponding to the immemorial rock dragon, but the immemorial rock dragon did not have a GU immortal's intelligence, let alone remote controlling the puppet. It could not even freely use immortal GU, as such it was unable to manifest its strength. That was the reason for this rank 8 battle strength to not move even the slightest since the start of the battle. It was instead Fang Yuan who was cautious and did not dare to even risk probing it. Naturally, this was common sense. Just like now, the dual spear-wielding GU immortal was stunned and did not dare to attack the upper extreme heavenly eagle. When Fang Yuan released the upper extreme heavenly eagle, the situation completely transformed. The rank 8 battle strength on the variant human GU immortal's side was only a facade, while they were unaware of the details regarding Fang Yuan, and thought they were on the weaker side. And Fang Yuan, he was also not clear of the variant human GU immortals, and also did not know if the immemorial dragon beast was only there for show. He also felt his strength was on the weaker side. As far as the truth was concerned, Fang Yuan's judgment was correct. Right now, Fang Yuan was feeling rather tense. The upper extreme heavenly eagle was about to die from hunger, and he had to use blood path methods to disguise it to look like it had flourishing vitality. Once it was attacked, this disguise would fail. However, the other side did not dare to attack. The reason? Once they attacked, if they could not kill their enemy and let him escape, that would be a very troublesome situation. Even if they summoned the immemorial rock dragon from the deep underground, if the upper extreme heavenly eagle wanted to escape, they would not be able to stop it. Since Fang Yuan exposed their identities, he also knew of their misgivings. Their identities. Once their identities of the snowmen and rockmen were exposed to Northern Plains GU immortal world, it would immediately lead to invasion from the righteous path, demonic path and lone cultivators. Human forces were strong and had killed on their path to reach this age since the immemorial antiquity era. They absolutely would not let such a huge variant human super force to exist beside them. Thus, when the variant human GU immortals ambushed Fang Yuan, they had concealed their appearances. The variant human GU immortals had even mobilized 9 GU immortals and moved out an immemorial desolate beast to suppress the situation, just to handle Fang Yuan, one person. It was to make sure there was no mishap. But even in such a foolproof plan, there were many mishaps because of Fang Yuan alone. Finally, he even brought out an immemorial desolate beast, upper extreme heavenly eagle. If they had known this earlier, how could the variant human GU immortals still lay in ambush, and end up in this current awkward situation of not knowing what to do? Fang Yuan waited for a while. The variant human GU immortals did not speak. He shook his head and gave a helpless smile. All right, I have already said this, why are you still not believing me? Could it be that you really want us to fight to the death? Naturally, I won't be the one to die. How could we trust you, a human? A rank 7 GU immortal said with anger. Fang Yuan heaved a sigh of relief inwardly. Since the other side spoke, that means they had been deceived. He got the opportunity, now it would depend on his performance. Thereupon, Fang Yuan activated Familiar Face. Immortal killer moves aura spread everywhere. The variant human GU immortals immediately became vigilant. The dual spear-wielding GU immortal even retreated far away. However, what came next shocked the variant human GU immortals, as they looked on with wide eyes at Fang Yuan transforming into a hairy man, with no flaws. I am a transformation path GU immortal, and I inherited a portion of the true inheritance of Ren Wang. I could easily deceive you all by transforming into a hairy man, but why did I not do so? Fang Yuan spoke in sincere fashion as he spread his arms and turned back to his previous appearance. The variant human GU immortals quietly looked at him. Fang Yuan continued to bullshit. I did it as an act of sincerity to you. Since I realized your identities just moments ago, then we can be considered people on the same side. Although I am a human GU immortal, I am truly a member of Langya Blessed Land. Langya Blessed Land's origin is long-hair ancestor. Currently, under Langya Land Spirit's lead, Langya sect has been created and I am one of the supreme elders of the sect. If you believe me, then open up the battlefield killer move, and I will send a message to inform the sect of this matter. The variant human GU immortals looked at each other but nobody moved. Both sides were at a stalemate. Fang Yuan did not dare to let their minds wander. After all, Heaven's will was influencing them. To dispel Heaven's will's influence, Fang Yuan had to continue to talk and change their minds. Heaven's will was not fake will, and its influence over variant human GU immortals was not high. After all, the intelligence of variant humans was second to only humans. It was because of this that Fang Yuan had hope. Alright, I will show my sincerity first. Fang Yuan suddenly sighed, and opened his immortal aperture, placing the upper extreme heavenly eagle inside. This move shocked all the variant human GU immortals. Careful, although the upper extreme heavenly eagle has been placed inside, it can rely on its power to come out of the aperture and make a move at any time. Enough, dispel Grey Cloud Battle Puppet. Leader. Could it be that you still think Grey Cloud Battle Puppet can trap him? The other variant human GU immortals were unable to reply. From what they saw, the truth was indeed like that. Amidst the stifling silence, the killer move Grey Cloud Battle Puppet was slowly dispelled. Fang Yuan's vision was once again filled with the sight of the bright landscape of northern plains. He strongly endured the impulse of making an immediate getaway, speaking to these variant human GU immortals. Good. Friends are often made after a fight. I will immediately notify Langya sect, staying here and waiting for the sect to send GU immortals. Fang Yuan's joyful attitude was naturally a disguise. But with his acting along with attitude GU, there was no flaw at all. At least, these variant human GU immortals did not notice any flaw. Adding on that Fang Yuan did not run away, it gave even more proof of the truth of his words. Then we shall invite you to make a visit underground as a guest. Here, the other grey clouds had all dispersed, while only a Rockman GU immortal's physical body was remaining. He was the person controlling Grey Cloud Battle Puppet. Ha ha ha, please lead the way. Fang Yuan followed this Rockman GU immortal into the underground part of this icy plain. The facts proved that Heaven's will's influence towards GU immortals was not remarkable. At least, Fang Yuan was able to use words to dispel this influence. Naturally, it was on the basis of the upper extreme heavenly eagle. It was because of the existence of the immemorial desolate beast that these variant human GU immortals changed their minds. After all, Heaven's will could not destroy these GU immortals' rationality. Challenging an immemorial desolate beast would be looking for death. In the depths below the icy plain, there was a scenic and beautiful world of its own. Fang Yuan was vaguely encircled by several GU immortals as they led him, while he looked at the underground scenery absent-mindedly. The variant human GU immortals were also in the same situation. Until Langya sect sent a group of hairy man GU immortals to this place. 12th hair and 6th hair were among them. Chapter 1143 I am rejoicing. Northern icy plain, deep underground. Within a large hall, stone chairs and tables were arranged in a circle, thick vines grew on the walls and grass grew between the cracks of the rocks. 3 bonfires were burning high at the center of the hall. It is said that this was a tradition passed down from the olden antiquity era. When variant humans attend to esteemed guests, they would set up a banquet and burn 3 bonfires. Snowman, Rockman and Hairy Man GU immortals, as well as Fang Yuan, were seated inside the hall. The fire shone on every person's face and their smiles could be seen. All kinds of fruits were laid in front of everyone, and soon, Rockman servants served each person a large bowl of wine. This is our Rockman tribe's lipfish wine, have a taste. Shizong stood up from his seat and called out while holding the wine bowl. Shizong was this Rockman tribe's first supreme elder. He had not joined the battle to kill Fang Yuan. His whole body shone with many colors from the countless gold, silver and pearl ornaments inlaid on him. This was the style of Rockman tribes. Rockman bodies were made completely of rocks and in their long period of life, all kinds of gold, silver, iron and steel ores would grow on their bodies. Rockmen took this as a symbol of good looks and honor. The higher the position of the Rockman, the more extravagant ornaments they would have on them. Not only Shizong, several other Rockman GU immortals present on the scene were the same. Since Shizong had invited it, all the immortals held up their wine bowls in response. Shizong and the other immortals took big gulps of the wine, the hairy men did the same, only Fang Yuan took a small sip. After Shizong had finished drinking, he put down the bowl which did not even have a drop of wine remaining. Cheers broke out, other GU immortals also imitated him, and drank down all the wine in their bowls. The immortals laughed, the calm atmosphere became lively. Only Fang Yuan put down the wine bowl, having only drunken a bit of the lipfish wine. The Snowman and Rockman GU immortals turned a blind eye to this. Instead, the dissension rose from within the hairy man GU immortals. Sixth Hair criticized Fang Yuan. Elder Fang Yuan, what are you doing? Don't you know your action is impolite? The host finished the wine, you, as a guest, should also follow and not leave behind any wine in your bowl, this is respect towards the host. Ah, I forgot you are a human and not one of us variant humans, no wonder you don't know this tradition passed down from the remote antiquity era. Sixth Hair was a spy placed in Langya sect by Shadow sect, he took advantage of every chance to cause trouble for Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan sneered, his gaze scanned around before he spoke leisurely, how would I not know of this tradition? It is just that this lipfish wine is the saliva left behind by underground rockfish, I don't like drinking it. You, Sixth Hair's expression looked dark, but he was happy inwardly. Fang Yuan's words were no doubt offending the other side, which was what he intended. In Fang Yuan's letter to Langya sect to notify the land spirit, he had naturally not mentioned everything and only explained the matter roughly. Sixth Hair and the others did not know that Fang Yuan had brought out an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle in the life and death battle with the snowmen and rockmen before he could make the other side compromise. In fact, when Fang Yuan had joined Langya sect, Langya land spirit had issued a mission to find variant human allies. Since Fang Yuan had found them, he naturally completed this mission and was sure to receive rewards from Langya sect. As a member of Shadow sect, Sixth Hair did not want to see Fang Yuan obtain benefits and develop. Right now, he spoke up to try and suppress Fang Yuan. Haha, since Elder Fang Yuan does not like this wine, then we shall change to another one. Bring out the Ice Wolf wine from my winery. A Snowman GU immortal laughed. Snowman had snow-white skin, ice-blue pupils and aqua-blue hair. This Snowman GU immortal was robust and strong, his upper body was bare, revealing a dark blue tattoo on his chest. His aqua-blue hair was tied up, revealing a firm and dauntless face. This person's name was Bing Zhou, he was that dual spear-wielding GU immortal who had made Fang Yuan struggle bitterly. Soon, a snowman servant brought the wine. This was a wine bowl made from ice, the wine inside was almost frozen and released cold air. To tell the truth, I myself don't like drinking lipfish wine, so I brewed this wine, how about giving it a taste? Bing Zhou passionately spoke. Fang Yuan swept his gaze at the wine and intentionally spoke without proper respect. Let me taste it then, let's see if it is to my taste or not. Please. Bing Zhou laughed. Fang Yuan drank a gulp, the first instance this wine entered his mouth, it was icy cold, but when it entered his throat, it became hot like fire. The feeling of ice and fire immediately made Fang Yuan's eyes brighten as he spoke, good wine. Ha ha ha, Bing Zhou laughed loudly, since you like it, then please drink some more. He had just finished speaking, when the immortals saw Fang Yuan lift the whole bowl and drink it down in one gulp. The immortals were dazed for a moment, before applauding and cheering loudly. Fang Yuan discreetly glanced at Sixth Hair while laughing internally. He had already known Sixth Hair's intention. Sixth Hair would not let any mishaps happen to Fang Yuan. Because after Shadow Sect saves Spectral Soul's main body, their next target would be Fang Yuan. Because of this, Sixth Hair would not harm Fang Yuan's life. Sixth Hair could only suppress Fang Yuan at most, and delay his growth to make it easier for Shadow Sect in the future. Sixth Hair had already done this before, making Fang Yuan's relation with Langya sect turn cold. However, how could he have ever expected Fang Yuan to have an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle and moreover, that he had used it to successfully awe the snowmen and rockmen? An immemorial level battle strength, these variant human GU immortals had no choice but to give respect to it. This was strength. In their hearts, no matter how Sixth Hair provoked or smeared, Fang Yuan's importance was much greater than all the hairy man GU immortals combined. In fact, variant humans very strongly revered strength. This was one of the characteristics of variant humans that had passed down since the immemorial antiquity era. Because be it the era of eating raw flesh and drinking blood, or the period of war between different races, or the era when they were slaughtered by humans, great strength had always brought more space to survive and opportunities to these variant humans. It was instead the humans who, after becoming the overlord of the 5 regions and having an unshakable position, stopped having as much reverence for strength as before. It could not compare to these variant humans who were barely surviving at some isolated parts of the world. Fang Yuan had intentionally made things difficult, and as far as these variant human GU immortals were concerned, it was normal. What expert did not have some attitude? If Fang Yuan did not display it, they would instead feel uneasy. Fang Yuan knew the mentality of these variant human GU immortals very well. Naturally, he also had another reason for it, that was to probe their intentions. Now, Fang Yuan was basically completely confident that he was safe. What's going on? Looking at the variant human GU immortals' smiling expressions, Sixth Hair was greatly shocked. Next, almost all Snowman and Rockman GU immortals approached Fang Yuan, while leaving aside the Hairy Man GU immortals. Elder Fang Yuan, here, I will toast you. Elder Fang Yuan sure is a great drinker. Fang Yuan did not refuse them, he drank each time. The Hairy Man GU immortals looked at each other in confusion. Sixth Hair was extremely bewildered. What magic bewitchment has Fang Yuan used? He is actually so greatly welcomed. If Fang Yuan had turned into a hairy man's appearance, then maybe it could make sense. But he was in his original form, which was a genuine human. Elder Fang Yuan, I, Shui shall pour wine for you. During the feast, a beautiful female snowman GU immortal actually walked over to Fang Yuan and took up the work of a servant, pouring the ice wolf wine for Fang Yuan. The other hairy man GU immortals looked on with wide eyes. Sixth Hair almost shouted out, "What the hell are you all doing? Are you even variant humans?" Fang Yuan is clearly a human GU immortal. Human, the humans who had slaughtered and marginalized you variant humans. Shui, you are that snowman who discovered my true body. Fang Yuan brazenly sized up this female snowman immortal, and asked. The female snowman lowered her head and gave a coy smile. I am only good at some investigative methods, Elder Fang Yuan is the true hero. 12th Hair had been drinking wine, but when he heard these words, he could not help spurting out the wine. 6th Hair looked like he was about to fly into a rage, almost cursing at the female GU immortal. What is your intention? Hey, why is your face red? What are you doing by lowering your head and acting shy? Still taking sneaky glances at Fang Yuan, you think I can't see your expression? Damn it, are you a snowman or not? Pay attention to your identity. I don't deserve the title of hero. Fang Yuan laughed half-heartedly. Even he himself was somewhat surprised. The attitude of these variant human GU immortals seemed to have changed a little too much. Bing Zhou walked over at this moment while holding his wine bowl. If Elder Fang Yuan is not a hero, then who can still claim to be a hero? Shui gave a timely introduction. This is Brother Bing Zhou. He is the strongest in our tribe. Normally he is cold and extremely prideful. Only when talking with Elder Fang Yuan is he this passionate. Fang Yuan stood up and assessed this GU immortal. If I am not wrong, you are the person who dual-wielded spears and fought with me for dozens of rounds. Bing Zhou laughed, giving a thumbs up. Elder Fang Yuan, you have a good eye for detail. Fang Yuan did not continue gossiping, and directly chugged down the wine. Bing Zhou was overjoyed, and also chugged down his wine. Cheers rose up once again, while Shui clapped from the side. Heroes attract heroes. The hairy man GU immortals looked on, dumbfounded, no one was paying attention to them. The other side's GU immortals were all looking at Fang Yuan. 6th Hair almost slammed the table. Bing Zhou's attitude was making him feel worse. He mentally screamed, what in the world are you guys doing? Forget about that female GU immortal named Shui. Fang Yuan's current appearance is quite handsome. What are you, a man, being so excited for? Look at your laughing expression, you look like you want to be sworn brothers with Fang Yuan, what are you thinking? The strongest in your tribe and also a hero. Being this close with a human GU immortal, you want to betray your tribe. Bing Zhou sighed. Compared to Elder Fang Yuan, how could I be considered a hero? Elder Fang Yuan possesses an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle. If Elder Fang Yuan was not on the same side as us, we might have provoked a disaster for our tribes. Wow, what? Immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle. In an instant, the hairy man GU immortals looked at each other in shock. Elder Fang Yuan, I didn't hear wrongly, right? You actually have an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle. 6th Hair finally could not endure it. He stood up suddenly and stared fixedly at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan rubbed his nose, and said with a slightly embarrassed expression, "Not long ago, I allied with Chu Du to get to Heifan Grotto Heaven and take Heifan's true inheritance. This upper extreme heavenly eagle is one of the gains." "What?" the hairy man Gu Immortals exclaimed in shock. Meanwhile, the snowman and rockman Gu Immortals also exchanged looks with each other. Sixth Hair took a step back unconsciously, staring at Fang Yuan incredulously, and then looking at the other Gu Immortals. In that instant, he finally realized and understood why these variant human Gu Immortals gave so much importance to Fang Yuan. Immemorial Desolate Beast, Rank 8 Battle Strength. Plop. Sixth Hair could not bear such a huge impact, his legs gave way and he sat down again on the stone chair. "I did not have the time to inform all of you. Come, let us Langya sect members have a drink, this calls for a celebration." Fang Yuan smiled and raised his wine bowl. The hairy man Gu Immortals reacted, revealing joyous expressions. "Our Langya sect also has rank 8 battle strength now. Elder Fang Yuan, you are truly unfathomable, simply amazing." "Elder Fang Yuan, it was my mistake in the incident earlier, I had eyes but failed to recognize TNT Mountain." The hairy man Gu Immortals all had looks of acceptance. This was the prestige of rank 8 battle strength. Sixth Hair also rose his wine bowl with a smile, while inwardly, he was spurting blood from anger. Fang Yuan glanced at him, smiling. "Elder Sixth Hair, why are your hands trembling?" Sixth Hair smiled towards him. He indeed was a spy who had lurked for many years, his expression did not show any flaws, it was just his voice that had turned somewhat hoarse. "This is because I am extremely excited for you, Elder Fang Yuan, and for Langya sect, I am rejoicing." Chapter 1144. Refining Gu, Grand Commotion. Snow descended slowly and quietly. There was no wind. A series of snowy mountain peaks formed a range. A couple were snuggling each other near the window, looking outside at the snowy landscape. There was a warm atmosphere in the room. The wife was neat and graceful, some white color was already beginning to show in her hair. She leaned on her husband's arm and spoke with nostalgia. "It has been so long since I watched the snowy landscape with you this serenely." Her husband already looked old but was in good health. He comfortingly patted his wife's arm with his aged hand, and spoke slowly. "I would like to stay with you always and watch the snowflakes fall quietly. Do you still remember the time we first met?" His wife chuckled, the joyous memory seemed to be resurfacing in front of her eyes. "That was also a snowy day, you were still hot-headed, wanting to become stronger and stronger." "I wanted to become stronger, wasn't it for the sake of becoming worthy of you? Back then, you said you would marry me when I cultivate to rank 8. Hee hee." The old man laughed, his laughter had some craftiness as well as some pride. His wife's smile, however, shrank slightly, and her brows furrowed. "To tell the truth, I regret it a little. I would rather your cultivation be slightly lower. To be your husband, how could I have lower cultivation level? Rest assured, as long as we refine fortune rivaling heaven immortal Gu, I have confidence in passing this myriad tribulation, then our future will be boundless as the sea and sky, and I can stay with you forever." As he said this, the old man's sight slowly became sharper, revealing an extraordinarily powerful aura. His aura went from weak to strong, continuously growing stronger. As time passed, it actually flowed outside, causing the surrounding snowflakes to stop falling, and float in front of him. His wife slowly moved away from him, quietly looking at the snowy landscape as a firm will emerged in her eyes. "Let us begin." After a long while, the old man spoke, breaking the silence. His wife only replied with one word, "Okay." Old ancestor Shuihu and Lady Wan Shou began refining fortune rivaling heaven immortal Gu. On this day, gorgeous lights shot out to the sky from snowy mountain-blessed land, unable to be hidden or concealed. Northern Plains Gu immortal world had yet to recover from the commotion of He tribe's annihilation, but now, it fell into upheaval once again. Old ancestor Shuihu had begun refining rank 8 fortune rivaling heaven Gu. This news was like a whirlwind that engulfed the whole Northern Plains Gu immortal world. Feng Xian Grotto Heaven. Such a grand show, as if he is afraid others won't come to wreck his plan. But this is indeed old Shuihu's style. Prince Feng Xian chuckled indifferently at the news. "Lord, if we let old ancestor Shuihu successfully refine the rank 8 immortal Gu, I am afraid he would just get much stronger." Gu immortal Yulan spoke from beside Prince Feng Xian. Even without fortune rivaling heaven Gu, he is still the #1 expert of Northern Plains. Our current task is to capture Fang Yuan. We have already obtained news from that side. Heavenly Court has deduced and confirmed Fang Yuan is in Northern Plains. Prince Feng Xian laughed, his eyes shining with cold light. His hatred towards Fang Yuan was deep. The reason? Because Prince Feng Xian's original task had been to infiltrate 88 Truyong building. But the grand plan was destroyed by Fang Yuan, causing his many years of waiting to go down the drain. Could he not feel hatred? Baizu Grotto Heaven, old ancestor Shui who has been fiddling around for these years, he finally decided to act. Heavenly Lord Baizu mumbled, then shook his head. After that battle with old ancestor Shuihu, Heavenly Lord Baizu was even more aware of the other side's strength. Just I alone am absolutely not old ancestor Shuihu's opponent. Also, wrecking his refinement plan would mean I will be an irreconcilable enemy of him. But I have now established Baizu tribe, this is the result of many years of planning and arduous work, I cannot make a move lightly. Unless Yao Huang and some other people want to make a move before they show any signs, I should concentrate on invading that Heifan Grotto Heaven instead. Yao Huang Grotto Heaven, a large cauldron was floating in front of Yao Huang. It was made from cauldron strength immortal Gu. Inside the cauldron were countless immortal materials, the blazing fire below it was constantly melting these immortal materials into liquid and fusing them. When he heard the news of old ancestor Shuihu's Gu refinement, the fire heating the cauldron trembled. Yao Huang sighed and mumbled to himself, fighting with old Shuihu is not wise. Instead, I just need to concentrate on refining this resurrection from the dead immortal Gu, and I will also possess a rank 8 immortal Gu, and solve the issue of lifespan. Longevity Heaven, look at those lights soaring to the sky, HMPH. Old ancestor Shuihu has really started refining fortune rivaling heaven Gu. Even if he is a rank 8 Gu immortal, he is too audacious to dare to covet Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's immortal Gu. Longevity Heaven was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's Grotto Heaven, the Gu immortals who lived inside were descendants of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable with the closest bloodline connection to him. They naturally did not want to see fortune rivaling heaven Gu falling into an outsider's hands. However, they were unable to make a move. Because a one-person, 5 elements Grandmaster. Elder Fang Yuan, please come in, this is our tribe's sacred land, Earth Mother Altar. Shi Cheng respectfully guided Fang Yuan. This Rockman Gu Immortal was only rank 6, but he controlled the immortal battlefield killer move, Grey Cloud Battle Puppet, he was clearly a character representing the next generation of the Rockmen. Following with him was also the rank 6 female Gu Immortal from the Snowman tribe, Shui. Right now, some days had already passed since the banquet. The allied tribes of snowmen and rockmen living here treated Fang Yuan and the hairy man Gu Immortals with utmost cordiality. According to Langya Land Spirit's arrangement, Sixth Hair and the others were responsible for negotiating about cooperation and alliance between both sides. As for Fang Yuan, he was accompanied to tour around and view the scenery, becoming familiar with the lifestyle of these variant humans. Over these last few days, Fang Yuan had deep insight. These snowmen and rockmen were living in hiding below the northern icy plain, but they were filled with awareness of crisis and were extremely strict in the upbringing of their later generations, almost to the point of cruelty. This led to generations after generations of powerful variant human Gu Immortals. Compared to them, Heifan Grotto Heaven's Gu Immortals formed an extremely clear contrast. Elder Fang Yuan, didn't you ask me yesterday why there is such earth and soil below the northern icy plain? You will know once you enter. Shui giggled. Okay, Fang Yuan nodded, being somewhat curious. When he entered Earth Mother Altar and saw 2 statues enshrined at the center, he was left staring. He was shocked, because he saw a female human immortal hugging a rockman Gu Immortal's arm. The two were looking into the distance with blissful expressions, looking like they had lived a charmed life together. This is the 27th First Supreme Elder of my tribe, Shi Mu, the one beside him is his wife, my tribe's most respected Lady Earth Mother. Of course, as you can see, Lady Earth Mother is a human Gu Immortal. Shi Cheng introduced. This was somewhat unthinkable, a female human immortal actually fell in love with a rockman Gu Immortal, and was enshrined and respected by the later generations of rockmen to this degree. Shui continued. Lady Earth Mother was kind and benevolent, her love transcends race. She was deeply saddened that the Rockman tribe did not have land for survival, and not long after Lord Shi Mu passed away, she also died of her own accord to be with her love. For the sake of the later generations, her Dao marks and blessed land turned into this underground land, allowing Rockmen to have a foundation for survival. Fang Yuan firmly stared at this couple's statues. His mind was surging frantically. Because this Earth Mother, whom the Rockmen and Snowmen respected and revered, he actually knew her. Naturally, he and Earth Mother were not people of the same time period, there would normally not have been any link between them. The reason why Fang Yuan could recognize Earth Mother's identity was because he had soul-searched He Chang. Because Earth Mother was the missing He Feng Yu of He tribe, old ancestor He Fan's most beloved granddaughter. Who could have expected that He Feng Yu disappeared as a result of hiding her own identity? She fell in love with a rockman Gu Immortal. This definitely would not have been accepted by the tribe, and even more so, would not have been accepted by the human Gu Immortals in Northern Plains. As for why she fell in love and stayed with a rockman Gu Immortal, there definitely must have been a hidden story. Fang Yuan was expressionless, but was inwardly sighing. No matter what the truth of the past was, he had no intention to excavate it. Every person had their own life to lead, their own loved and hated enemies. Right. Shui had been secretly observing Fang Yuan, and seeing Fang Yuan having no expression of disgust or anger, her whole heart felt joyous. She then looked at the statues of Shi Mu and Earth Mother dazedly, speaking with certain intent. I won't hide it from Elder Fang Yuan, from my perspective, love has no boundaries. Whether it be rockmen or humans, both have the possibility of existing together and the right to love each other. Fang Yuan went absent-minded. A beautiful white figure flashed across his eyes. But it disappeared shortly afterwards. The 500 years of my first life, his gaze turned deep and serene. He slightly realized now, why this group of snowmen and rockmen accepted him so easily after knowing Fang Yuan was on the same side. From a certain aspect, Fang Yuan could also be considered to have received Earth Mother's help. Actually, we were compelled by the situation to fight with Elder Fang Yuan. Elder Fang Yuan must also be clear on how the northern icy plain was formed. This was previously a pure icy land. Only with Lady Earth Mother's profound methods did this area start gathering earth chi and form this soil. Shi Cheng earnestly continued. However, when a Gu Immortal faces their tribulation in the northern icy plain, it would draw in and consume heaven and earth chi. Every time the earth chi is weakened, the northern icy plain will get more unstable, and the land we can live on will decrease by a portion in area. Fang Yuan nodded. He already knew of this reason during the banquet, now his understanding had become even deeper. This is my fault. If I had known this before, I would not have undergone my calamity in the northern icy plain. Fang Yuan earnestly spoke. Shi Cheng and Shui Er's face brightened. If misunderstandings can be solved, that is for the best. Shi Cheng spoke. Right at this time, Shi Cheng's expression changed. Shortly afterwards Shui Er's expression also changed. What's wrong? Fang Yuan quickly asked. Lights are soaring to the sky from snowy mountain-blessed land. Our information claims that old ancestor Shui Hu has begun refining fortune rivaling heaven Gu. Shi Cheng spoke in a heavy tone. Any human growing stronger was grievous news to variant humans. Shui Er's eyes shifted to Fang Yuan. Elder Fang Yuan, you used spring-autumn cicada to rebirth and are an otherworldly demon. You even destroyed 88 Truyong building by your own hands. I would like to ask if old ancestor Shui Hu succeeds in refining fortune rivaling heaven Gu in the future. Chapter 1145. Rank 8 determines the situation. A number of days had passed since the hairy man Gu Immortals from Langya sect came in touch and started discussing with this group of snowmen and rockmen. The more they talked, the more they found common topics between each other. This was decided by the external factors. Human forces were incomparably big, while the variant human tribes could only barely survive in isolated parts of the world, like this place. They were naturally inclined towards allying. Although Sixth Hair was a spy inserted by Shadow Sect into Langya Sect, he did not oppose the alliance of the two sides, instead even working hard for it. On one hand, Sixth Hair knew very well that just by himself, he could not make the two sides turn hostile to each other. On another hand, Sixth Hair also took this chance to show his skills and obtain more contribution points, letting Langya Land Spirit put more trust in him and increasing his status. Finally, Shadow Sect's goal was Spectral Soul's goal. Although the demon Venerable had died, his aspirations were already beyond the boundaries of race. Both sides discussed, each understanding more about the other. Sixth Hair even sold almost all the intel about Fang Yuan to get more trust from the other side. Thus, snowmen and rockmen knew how special Fang Yuan's status was. Fang Yuan once possessed spring-autumn cicada and was a person who had been reborn. He was also an otherworldly demon who came from a foreign world. He was also the main culprit for the destruction of 88 Truyong building an imperial court-blessed land. It was worth mentioning that the last point made the variant human Gu Immortals feel even closer to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan destroyed 88 Truyong building, greatly weakening the human forces of Northern Plains, which was an extremely good thing to variant human forces. They were so joyous that, in the past, when they heard about 88 Truyong Building's destruction, this allied group of snowmen and rockmen even had a banquet for 3 days and 3 nights. Inside Earth Mother Altar, hearing Shui ask about the future, Feng Yuan replied with a bitter smile, having already prepared beforehand, although I had spring-autumn cicada, I have already lost this mystical Gu. After I was reborn, there have been many changes in the world. You also know that I made 88 Truyong Building collapse, right? Yes, Elder Feng Yuan, you are truly amazing. Shui said with bright eyes. I also feel extreme admiration towards you about this. Shi Cheng also added. Feng Yuan rubbed his nose and sighed. I am a person who had been reborn, and knew some secrets. Although I am not of the Huang Jin bloodline, I participated in the fight for Imperial Court to get some benefits from 88 Truyong Building. My original plan was to visit time after time to get unending benefits. But plans can't keep up with changes, some accidents happened and I could only adapt to the circumstances, finally causing the collapse of 88 Truyong Building. Shui and Shi Cheng revealed joyous smiles. Shi Cheng said, Elder Feng Yuan's words make sense. Feng Yuan shook his head in helpless fashion, who wants to be chased by all the Gu immortals in the world? That was truly an accident. Shui smiled. From what I see, Elder Feng Yuan, you are a natural hero, although you destroyed 88 Truyong Building accidentally, if it were someone else, would they be able to do it? It is because of this I had no choice but to hide in Langya Blessed Land. Later on, things happened and I joined Langya sect. While living over there, I slowly discovered that the traits of variant humans were actually not weaker than humans. Their sincerity, trust and loyalty and so on far surpass the humans who always try to deceive each other. Although the 5 regions are vast, the survival space of variant humans is shrinking by the day. This is not right. Heavens will permit all living beings to exist, variant humans and humans should indeed coexist. Feng Yuan's face did not show shame in the slightest when he said this. He even brought up Heaven's will, which was trying every way possible to eradicate him. Feng Yuan had a sincere expression, so vivid that it could not be more realistic. Shui's eyes even reddened from hearing these words. Shi Cheng was extremely moved. If other human Gu immortals were all as understanding and knowledgeable as Lord Feng Yuan, the world would be much better. In his words, he had already raised Feng Yuan from elder to lord, even speaking to him respectfully. Indeed, Feng Yuan's words were extremely politically correct as far as variant humans were concerned, inciting resonance and approval with their minds. But Elder Feng Yuan, you have yet to answer my question. Shui was intelligent and not easy to deceive. I was just getting there. Feng Yuan coughed. 88 Truyong Building's destruction was not my intention. In fact, before I had reborn, it had never fallen. Ah, is that so? Shui and Shi Cheng looked at each other. Northern Plains' situation has changed too much because of me. 88 Truyong Building was destroyed, Ma Hongyun was kidnapped and his possession of fortune-rivaling Heaven Gu was exposed so quickly, with him being bought by old ancestor Shuihu. Before I was reborn, there was simply no event of old ancestor Shuihu trying to refine fortune-rivaling Heaven Gu. Feng Yuan added. These words were all true. Shui and Shi Cheng both chose to believe them. The former slightly pursed her lips. Then doesn't it mean it is difficult to deduce the result? If we really let old ancestor Shuihu refine fortune-rivaling Heaven Gu, the strength of Northern Plains human Gu immortals will rise by another level. Feng Yuan's thoughts turned, questioning, could it be that you want to stop it? He had no choice but to admit this allied group of snowmen and rockmen had the power to interfere in this matter. Because they had an immemorial rock dragon, this was a genuine rank 8 battle strength. Moreover, it was an existence which was very hard to deal with among rank 8 battle strengths. The immemorial rock dragon's might was recorded and emphasized heavily in the historical records. Of course not. Shi Cheng shook his head, we absolutely cannot interfere in this. Yes, we have been living peacefully here, why would we expose ourselves and go offend a rank 8 expert? Moreover, this rank 8 expert controls Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, with large numbers of demonic path experts under him. Shui also shook her head. They were very aware of the situation. Even if they seized fortune-rivaling Heaven Gu for their own use, they would be exposing themselves, attracting the joint pursuit of the whole of Northern Plains Gu immortal world. All the human forces would come rushing over. At that time, forget fortune-rivaling Heaven Gu, even if there were several more immemorial rock dragons, they would be unable to stop the humans. Feng Yuan nodded and did not say anything, while inwardly pondering. These variant humans are indeed not ordinary. I have seen all the variant human GU immortals over these days, each of them is an elite. Whether it be their battle strength or foresight, they are outstanding in both. Even among the Northern Plains human GU immortal circle, they would be excellent. When compared to them, Heifan Grotto Heaven's GU immortals would be way behind. Fortunately, I had rank 8 battle strength with me. So what if he was an otherworldly demon? So what if he had spring-autumn cicada and was a reborn person? These statuses and mysteries, when they were stacked on his rank 8 battle strength as foundation, they become a part of a glorious halo, and not a source of trouble. When one had great strength, who would dare to find trouble? Rank 8 battle strength, with just a flick of their finger, they could crush others like ants. This was the reason the snowmen and rockmen not only did not dare to find trouble with Fang Yuan, they also expressed cordial stances and attempted to rope him in. Anyone of rank 8 battle strength was of sufficient value for others to rope in. In the absence of rank 9, rank 8s were the overlords. This was already among the peak battle strength in the world. In fact, the whole of Northern Plains' situation and structure is a result of rank 8 GU immortals conflicting with each other. The politics of a world having individuals with great strength is always dictated by the strongest people. Fang Yuan was well aware of this. But if they know my upper extreme heavenly eagle is already dead, I wonder what kind of expressions these people will have. Fang Yuan found it somewhat funny as he thought of this. He forcibly sped up the growth of the upper extreme heavenly eagle, using time path killer moves, but with insufficient heavenly crystals, it was on the verge of dying from hunger. He then used blood path methods to raise its vitality when he let it out, and successfully shook the variant human immortals. Relying on his bluffs and deception, he was able to survive, and change the situation. However, the upper extreme heavenly eagle was like the last radiance of the setting sun. After Fang Yuan placed it in his immortal aperture, it died at almost the very next moment. An immemorial desolate beast dying of hunger, this life of the upper extreme heavenly eagle was indeed somewhat depressing. But that might not be the case in its next life. The upper extreme heavenly eagle's amazing trait was that it would produce an egg after its death. When the egg hatches, it would once again be reborn. It was true that Fang Yuan lost the immemorial desolate beast upper extreme heavenly eagle, but similarly, he obtained an upper extreme heavenly eagle's egg, and also the immemorial desolate beast's giant corpse. He could completely accept this result. Because first of all, Fang Yuan was not satisfied with this upper extreme heavenly eagle. He had to disguise as a person of He tribe's bloodline to command it. Secondly, many flaws appeared after the upper extreme heavenly eagle was forcefully grown. With rank 8 battle strength, how could such a grand being let Fang Yuan, a rank 6 GU immortal, control it? Let alone when the upper extreme heavenly eagle was an extremely prideful beast. It was certain that the upper extreme heavenly eagle would not listen when it was forcefully grown into being of rank 8 battle strength. There was even a huge possibility of it rebelling and turning against Fang Yuan because of its strong pride in itself. As a result, the upper extreme heavenly eagle dying was not bad news to Fang Yuan. As for the new egg, Fang Yuan could rely on the contents of He Fan's true inheritance to change it, tampering with its memories and so on, such that when it hatches, it would directly obey Fang Yuan. Old ancestor Shui, who was openly refining fortune rivaling heaven GU, the refinement path GU formation's light even shot up to the heavens, shining brightly for 7 days and 7 nights before it gradually dissipated. This matter caused strong turbulence in the whole of Northern Plains GU immortal world. However, after the shock, the GU immortal world of Northern Plains strangely quietened down. This was because Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu, Yao Huang, 5 Elements Grandmaster and Prince Feng Xian had not responded yet. Without these rank 8 GU immortals speaking up, even if the other rank 6 and rank 7s clamored, it would be of no use. Being able to battle a rank 8 existence with rank 7 cultivation, within the last few thousand years of the 5 regions, only Feng Zhuzhe could do it. Old ancestor Shui who did matters rampantly and tyrannically, but one had to say he not only had brawn but also brains, picking up such an extremely opportune time. This group of variant humans under the northern icy plain also chose to watch by the sidelines. As for Fang Yuan himself, he similarly had no thoughts of participating in this matter. This matter was too big, it concerned the rank 8 great expert old ancestor Shui who, although Fang Yuan currently was stronger than before, if he interfered in this matter, he would easily be turned into mush. Chapter 1146, 4 Races Alliance. 3 days went by. Underground of the icy plain, Earth Mother Altar. 4 incense sticks were lit and the smoke coiled up to the air. GU immortals were standing by a side with solemn expressions, the 4 camps clearly differentiated. Fang Yuan was also among them. The people beside him were Lang Ya Sek's hairy man Gu Immortals. A melodious bugle call resounded, and then the drums roared. Shizong took a large step ahead during the drum sounds, speaking in a loud voice. I, Gu Immortal Shizong of the Rockman tribe, am willing to join the Four Races Alliance. From today onwards, the four races shall be united, we shall share fortune and woe together. He then activated his immortal essence, causing some changes in the Earth Mother altar. The smoke that was curling up in the air surged towards Shizong, and after coiling around for a dozen breaths, they completely merged into Shizong's body. Adding on information path Dao marks. It seems to be an ancient method, Fang Yuan inwardly pondered. Originally, the hairy men were discussing about an alliance with the allied group of Snowman and Rockman tribes. But the matter went unexpectedly smoothly, as both sides were increasingly in agreement with the alliance. The hairy men's side even took the initiative to mention bringing Inkman City in too. After the allied group of Snowmen and Rockmen understood the details, they agreed to it. Long Hair Ancestor and Immortal Yi Yan were publicly known to be bosom friends in history. Long Hair Ancestor left Langya Blessed Land behind while Immortal Yi Yan founded Inkman City. The Inkman and hairy men from these places thus always had close relations. Since the hairy men's side vouched for the Inkman, the allied Rockmen and Snowmen tribes also chose to believe them. As a result, the discussion between the three sides became one involving four variant human races. Finally, the three sides reached a consensus and were willing to form an alliance, sharing hardships together and assisting each other from now on. The current scene was a result of that. The three sides used an ancient information path method to officially form an alliance. Gu Immortals took turns to go forward and accept the effect of the information path Dao marks. As such, they became members of the Four Races Alliance. Time passed. Fang Yuan gradually understood some of the mechanics. This does not seem to be an orthodox information path method, but instead Earth Path is used to get the effect of information path. Just like my Time Path Immortal Killer move, 100 Years Harmony. Fang Yuan's heart sank as he thought of this. It was going to be troublesome if he wanted to break this alliance agreement in the future. Because it did not seem likely that he could resolve it using information path. Most probably, it needed to be resolved with Earth Path methods. Elder Fang Yuan, it's your turn. At this time, 12th Hair reminded softly from the side in a warm tone. Speaking of which, ever since the matter of the falling star hound was resolved and the news of Fang Yuan obtaining an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle was known, the hairy man Gu Immortal's attitudes towards Fang Yuan had a complete change, becoming reverential, forming a stark contrast from before. Fang Yuan nodded and walked to the front without hesitation, and just like what the rockman Gu Immortal Shizong did, he allowed the incense smoke to imprint on his body. His every action was being observed by the immortals present on the scene. Seeing that he had truly joined the alliance, the group of immortals slightly relaxed, letting go of another layer of worry. The smile on Shui became even more lovely. Little could they imagine that Fang Yuan was already thinking of how to break the restrictions of the alliance agreement. He naturally could not follow along with the aims and mindsets of these variant humans. Even entering Langya sect was to make it more convenient to use Langya Blessed Land's strength. Similarly, joining this Four Races Alliance was because Fang Yuan was forced by the situation and also because it would be easier for him to borrow the strength of the alliance to help in his cultivation. To truly have me be of the same faction as variant humans and resist humans, that is impossible. Humans have absolute dominance, even if these four variant human tribes have allied, what can they do? However, this strength also cannot be underestimated. In my first life, did these four groups really ally? Fang Yuan's thoughts had started to drift as he pondered. He did not know the answer to this question. In his first life, he had been a rank 6 blood path Gu Immortal. In matters regarding the Northern Plains Gu Immortal world, he did not have enough understanding. Especially these kinds of behind-the-scenes details, even Northern Plains Gu Immortals might not be aware. But I do know there had been no news of these Snowman and Rockman tribes in my first life, maybe they were annihilated or maybe they were still living, hiding from the world. Langya Blessed Land had also not established a sect, and was finally destroyed by Heavenly Court. On the contrary, the Inkman tribe did surprisingly well. As he thought of this, Fang Yuan sneaked a glance at Mo Tan Sang. This person only had rank 6 cultivation and cultivated Chi Path. Chi Path had much longer history than Strength Path, but was similarly a declining Gu cultivation path. Mo Tan Sang had a middle-aged appearance, he had black skin and thick white hair. He appeared quite dignified when he did not smile, and when he smiled, he gave people a feeling of great closeness. This person is also a formidable character. Fang Yuan inwardly appraised. He remembered that in the Five Regions' chaotic war, this Mo Tan Sang took advantage of the lack of attention paid to him due to the human tribes being too busy in their internal conflicts, to develop rapidly, greatly expanding the Inkman forces. When the Northern Plains human forces wanted to suppress him, he actually disregarded his dignity as the king and threw himself to Lu tribe. He took a servant's right to Lu tribe's supreme elder and became a servant to him. Lu tribe was one of the super forces, thus the Inkman forces were protected. The Inkman forces grew stably under this layer of protection. Later, when Lu tribe weakened, the Inkman king immediately gave up on Lu tribe to collaborate with Ma Hongyun on equal terms. Before Fang Yuan self-detonated, the Inkman had hundreds of cities and occupied one-third of Northern Plains lands. If Fang Yuan were to talk of such a scale and force, no one would believe him. In this four races alliance, the Inkman tribe was undoubtedly the weakest. But in Fang Yuan's first life, it was the Inkman who were thriving. Mo Tan Sang knew when to advance and when to yield. He was a spiritual figure representing the rise of the Inkman tribe. At the same time, it was also because of the external environment. In the Five Regions' chaotic war, all order collapsed, opportunities and risks were everywhere. As if sensing Fang Yuan's gaze, Mo Tan Sang turned back to look at Fang Yuan, immediately smiling, expressing sincerity and kindness. This kindness was so deep and clear that when he smiled, he was almost bowing, even giving the feeling of some flattery. Fang Yuan snorted inwardly, while returning the smile on the surface. Mo Tan Sang's expression changed slightly, showing a feeling of excitement at being recognized by an important person. If it were others, they would have probably felt a sense of superiority and smugness at this moment. Truly formidable, Fang Yuan's own acting skills were beyond ordinary, but this Mo Tan Sang before him was on par with him. The world is big, experts and talents emerge every generation, I absolutely cannot look down on these champions. Fang Yuan inwardly reminded himself, his mind remaining cool without any fluctuations. Northern Plains' situation could be described as going through one wave after another. The storm of He tribe's collapse and takeover by Bai Zhu tribe had yet to settle down. Old ancestor Shui who began refining fortune rivaling heaven Gu, attracting the gazes of the whole of Northern Plains Gu immortal world. And behind their backs, at an unknown, secluded area, four variant human races, hairy men, snowmen, rockmen and inkmen, had quietly formed an alliance. Although variant humans were absolutely in a weaker position, this alliance could not be looked down upon. Because it possessed a rank 8 battle strength immemorial rock dragon. Of course, in the minds of the other alliance members, there was also Fang Yuan's upper extreme heavenly eagle. Fang Yuan was forced to join them. But what made him feel slightly at ease was there were no wisdom path Gu immortal among these four tribes. After the alliance was formed, Fang Yuan's loss was obvious. That was, from now on, he could not undergo tribulation in the northern icy plain. This no doubt would influence Fang Yuan greatly. But he had no choice. Undergoing tribulation here meant consuming earth chi, which was the greatest damage to the rockmen's home. This was the reason why these rockmen and snowmen did not stint on cost to set up the battlefield killer move, Grey Cloud Battle Puppet, to kill Fang Yuan. But besides loss, Fang Yuan also had gains. He cleared the way for trading with the Rockman and Snowman tribes, letting his monthly earnings reach a new level. Leaving aside the snowmen, the main point were the rockmen, their desire towards Guts Gu was higher than humans. The reason? It was obvious, when one considered the time Fang Yuan used Guts Gu to increase the population of rockmen in Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Guts Gu was the best way to grow and develop rockman tribes. Besides this, Fang Yuan also sold some resources he obtained from Heifan Grotto Heaven to the rockmen, snowmen and inkmen, making great profits, causing Sixth Hair to worry and rage on the inside. Fang Yuan's gains are so huge. What should I do? How can we restrain him in the future? It was time to bid farewell. Elder Fang Yuan, you really need to leave so soon. You could stay for another day or two. Shui attempted to persuade Fang Yuan to stay. Fang Yuan shook his head, saying with a warm smile, "We have formed an alliance, this matter is too important, I need to personally return to report to Langya Land Spirit. You can rest assured, I will be back. We can be considered to be friends made from fighting and I feel quite fond of this place." Fang Yuan was interested in the Snowman Gu Immortal's Ice and Snow Path Immortal Gu, as well as their killer moves. These two were very suitable for him. After all, in terms of Dao marks, the highest quantity in his body were currently Ice and Snow Path Dao marks. As per the relation between him and the Snowman tribe currently, along with rank 8 battle strength publicly, he could exchange Immortal Gu. But Fang Yuan did not plan to give up any of his immortal GU, he had a better plan. For instance, someday in the future, when a certain variant human GU immortal cannot pass their tribulation and required his time path immortal killer move to slow the time in their immortal aperture. At that time, Fang Yuan could take the chance to demand immortal GU. In the past, He Fan did this many times and obtained a sizable number of immortal GU. Shui naturally did not know this handsome young man in front of her was harboring evil intent with his mind full of schemes. She lowered her head as she saw Fang Yuan was intent on leaving, revealing hesitation and a struggling expression. But soon, her eyes revealed firm intent as she raised her head and handed an item in her hand to Fang Yuan. Elder Fang Yuan, take this as my farewell gift to you. Shui tried to keep a calm exterior as she spoke, but her voice was still shaking. Fang Yuan glanced at the item, it was an ice teardrop. Chapter 1147, Making Chu Do Change Sides. Ice tears were not an immortal material but was still precious, widely loved by both GU masters and GU immortals. Ice tears originated from snowmen. Snowmen survived in icy environments. Snowmen normally did not cry or laugh, so their tears were very rare. The majority of the snowmen would never experience crying from joy or pain in their lives. But if they shed tears, the tears would immediately condense into ice tears. Snowmen could shed tears at most 3 times in their lives and the number would not surpass 60 drops. Every time they shed tears, the snowman's lifespan and life essence would decrease by a huge amount. If the snowman shed too many tears, they would rapidly age, quickening their death. So ice tears were rare as well. Transactions of ice tears had always been flourishing in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Long ago, Shui Songzi had particularly engaged in selling snowmen, supplying them to other GU immortals to torment and get the ice tears. As far as human GU immortals were concerned, ice tears were a precious GU refinement material. But to snowmen, ice tears had another significant meaning. That was, a token of love. That's right, snowmen, this race had male and female genders, unlike rockmen who were purely male. During the marriage of snowmen, they would often exchange ice tears. This action had extremely huge meaning to snowmen. This is an ice tear. Fang Yuan's eyes brightened, holding it in front of his eyes and making detailed observation. Don't look at it like that, quickly place it down, Shui voice was soft and anxious. There were many people present, holding the ice tear like that in public was sure to be noticed. Sure enough, the next moment, Shui heard those GU immortals' surprised sounds. Shui quickly lowered her head, her face flushing red with shyness. She handed the ice tear to Fang Yuan, which was as good as expressing her love. Although she had mustered her courage before, now that so many people were looking at her, she was truly embarrassed. Speaking of it, I have heard of this strange GU material long ago. I have now finally seen it personally. Thank you Shui this gift is pretty good. Maybe I should refine it into some GU worm. Fang Yuan cheerfully spoke. Shui body visibly shook. Fang Yuan turned a blind eye to it, continuing, but a drop of ice tear is still too little, it would be good if there were some more. Why are there no transactions of ice tears? It is truly regretful. As Shui listened, the shy redness in her face had already dissipated, replaced by pale white. Her head was lowered even more, her sight turning blurry as tears started to form in them. This fool, Bing Zhou could not see it continue, as he inwardly cursed and walked over. The other variant human GU immortals were tongue-tied, not knowing what to say. Shui suddenly raised her head, her back facing Fang Yuan as she called out to Bing Zhou, "Brother Bing Zhou." Bing Zhou gritted his teeth, an intense pity rose up in his heart as he saw Shui's pale white expression. He knew Shui was shy, it had already taken a lot of her courage to hand over the ice tear just now, maybe she had also felt an impulsive urge in her mind. Fang Yuan did not know the meaning of the ice tear, if he criticized Fang Yuan now in front of everyone, would it not put Shui in an even more embarrassing situation? Thinking of this, Bing Zhou could only swallow the words that were in his mouth, saying something else. Elder Fang Yuan, I had many gains from battling you. Next time, we should spar properly again. When he mentioned sparring, he intentionally made his voice heavier, along with some gnashing noise. Shui was young and beautiful, her talent was outstanding and her cultivation was high, she had all along been receiving the attention and favor of the tribe. It was just that there was no man in the same generation worthy of her. This time, she felt feelings for Fang Yuan, although he was a human GU immortal, the snowman GU immortals felt they could accept him. Rockmen had their earth mother, could our snowmen not have a snow father? If Shui could marry Fang Yuan, the snowman tribe would possess the backing of an immemorial desolate beast. But who could have thought Fang Yuan to not be aware of the tradition of these variant humans, treating the ice tear as a common GU material, making the whole situation awkward. Even Shui was put on the spot. Fang Yuan smiled and patted Bing Zhou's shoulder. All right, I promise you if there is an opportunity in the future, we will spar again. Okay, everyone, I am taking my leave. No need to send me off, we shall meet again in the future. Ha ha ha. Fang Yuan laughed heartily and walked away. Adorned in a white robe with long black hair, he looked handsome and extremely carefree. Shui gaze even turned somewhat dazed. Bing Zhou, however, gnashed his teeth, wanting nothing more than to chop this kid Fang Yuan into pieces. This can't do. When he has gone far enough, I need to send him a letter, telling him the meaning of the ice tear properly. The journey back to Langya blessed land was smooth and without any obstacles. Seeing Langya land spirit again, the attitude of the first supreme elder of Langya sect towards Fang Yuan had underwent a huge change. You truly inherited He Fan's true inheritance. You possess methods to slow the time of an immortal aperture. Also, you actually have an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle, quickly take it out. Langya land spirit excitedly asked. Fang Yuan shook his head bitterly, and took out the corpse of the upper extreme heavenly eagle. Langya land spirit was stunned on the spot. Fang Yuan informed Langya land spirit of the whole event. A grand immemorial desolate beast was actually starved to death by you. But fortunately, you still have the egg. That's good, that's good. The upper extreme heavenly eagle's special point is this. Langya land spirit came back to his senses, and looked at Fang Yuan with a burning gaze. Sell this upper extreme heavenly eagle's egg to me, we can make a deal. Fang Yuan laughed. I can sell this egg. Langya land spirit was joyous. Fang Yuan continued. But I am afraid you don't have any heavenly crystals to raise it. Even Treasure Yellow Heaven has very few transactions of heavenly crystals. Naturally, heavenly crystals can only be produced in Grotto Heavens or the immemorial 9 heavens. This is a very precious and rare rank 8 immortal material. Right now, only Black Heaven and White Heaven remain from the immemorial 9 heavens while the number of rank 8 GU immortals have always been few. Moreover, among these rank 8 GU immortals, some are unable to produce heavenly crystals. As he spoke until here, Langya land spirit shifted his words, but you don't have to worry about this. My Langya blessed land was once Langya Grotto Heaven, it had once produced heavenly crystals. Besides this, in the past, my main body had also hoarded a large batch of heavenly crystals from the immemorial 9 heavens. Ah, since that is the case, I can rest at ease. I will sell it to you. Fang Yuan nodded. Langya land spirit laughed heartily. Fang Yuan, since you are one of us, I absolutely won't let you suffer a loss. Luck Path True Inheritance, Thieving Heaven True Inheritance or Long Hair True Inheritance, choose as you please. Fang Yuan's tone sank. What? I am not too interested in these things. Moreover, isn't this price somewhat low to exchange for a rank 8 battle strength? Langya land spirit's smile stiffened, he thought for a bit and nodded, it is indeed so. Then how about exchanging with my Luopo Valley? Danghun Mountain and Luopo Valley were secluded domains of heaven and earth, unique in the whole world. But compared to rank 8 battle strength, Langya land spirit would not hesitate to give up on the former and choose the latter. Price is too low, not selling, not selling. Fang Yuan refused. Langya land spirit scratched his head. How about this, I am willing to give up Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus as well as the incomplete Immortal GU House Refinement Cauldron in exchange for your upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. Fang Yuan's heart jumped but he still shook his head. It is still not enough, not selling. Langya land spirit was furious. Then give me a price, how much will you sell it for? Fang Yuan smiled, emphasizing, this is of rank 8 battle strength. Langya land spirit naturally was not foolish, as he retorted, it is indeed of rank 8 battle strength, but it needs to be fed. Do you have heavenly crystals? Also, even if you raise the upper extreme heavenly eagle, will it listen to you? To tell you the truth, you were really lucky this time, starving the upper extreme heavenly eagle to death. If not for this, according to my understanding, this upper extreme heavenly eagle only needs to have some strength left to directly crush you, an ant who tried to enslave it, to death. Fang Yuan smiled. If so, I am willing to use sect contribution points to exchange for heavenly crystals to raise the upper extreme heavenly eagle. Anyway, I am a supreme elder of Langya sect and also one of the members of the Four Races Alliance. In the future, if the sect needs me, I will naturally appear. Langya land spirit was stumped, pondering upon it before he pointed at Fang Yuan's nose and scolded, good brat. You had no intent to sell it in the first place and were just making things difficult for me. Fang Yuan immediately showed a serious expression, speaking earnestly, how could I easily give up a rank 8 battle strength? But making things difficult for First Supreme Elder, how could I have such thoughts? It is just that the price is indeed too low. As he said this, he suddenly thought of another intention of He Fan. Even if He Fan's true inheritance was inherited by one of the Gu Immortals in the Grotto Heaven, He Fan had left the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle in Iron Eagle Blessed Land. With this immemorial desolate beast, even if there was not an inheritor, it would be an extremely huge gain to the tribe. Langya Land Spirit sighed, knowing well that Fang Yuan was not wrong, so he stopped persisting on buying. On one hand, the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle had already become an egg, making him greatly disappointed. On the other hand, Fang Yuan was not only bound by Langya's alliance agreement, he had also joined the Four Races Alliance, which put Langya Land Spirit at ease. Finally, he, more or less, knew Fang Yuan's nature. Such an ambitious and audacious guy like you absolutely won't easily give up on a rank 8 battle strength. But if you want to use sect contribution points to exchange for Langya sect's heavenly crystals, it won't be easy. Heavenly crystals are rank 8 immortal materials, the contribution points you have are many, but you would still not be able to afford them. Langya Land Spirit's mood became better as he said this. With heavenly crystals at hand, he could entice Fang Yuan to work for Langya sect. By now, Langya Land Spirit had no choice but to admit Fang Yuan was strong and resourceful, much more useful than other hairy man Gu Immortals. Then I will exchange for some first. We can slowly go about this. Fang Yuan intentionally revealed a distressed expression. Fang Yuan's current sect contribution points were indeed a lot. He had solved the matter with the Falling Star Hound, earning 1,000 sect contribution points at once. And this time, he had discovered the allied tribes of Snowmen and Rockmen, and succeeded in spurring the Four Races Alliance. The sect contribution points for this were also nearly 1,000. As such, Fang Yuan's Langya sect contribution points numbered over 2,000 points. But calculating it, 2,000 contribution points were still too little to exchange for the rank 8 immortal material, heavenly crystals. At this moment, Langya Land Spirit suggested another mission for Fang Yuan. Aren't you familiar with Domination Immortal Chudu? Rope him into our Langya sect, make him rebel against the humans and become one of us. I can give you another 1,000 sect contribution points if you do this. Chapter 1148, Temporary Rest. Fang Yuan's divine sense was roaming in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Oh, his divine sense stopped for a moment. A Gu Immortal's will was at the side, with a mountain of goods behind him. These are all slippery soil. Fang Yuan took the initiative and asked. Han Yu's Gu Immortal will awakened from slumber, seeing a customer, he quickly said, these are all slippery soil. After reporting the price, he asked, Sir, how much are you buying? Slippery soil was a type of rank 5 material, the soil was very fertile. Fang Yuan nodded mentally, this was a very appropriate price, it was even lower than the normal market price. He needed this soil anyway, he said, I'll take them all. Han Yu's will shook, everything. I have a huge stock. Fang Yuan confirmed, yes, everything. 202 immortal essence stones, that is the price, right? Han Yu's will quickly nodded, yes, yes. Inside Treasure Yellow Heaven, any form of goods would have treasure light emitting from them. Fang Yuan could estimate the price by looking at the treasure light and the goods themselves. He was a Wisdom Path Grand Master, after all. Let's trade, Fang Yuan said quickly. All right, Han Yu's will quickly nodded and responded. The situation was out of his expectations. He was only a rank 6 Gu Immortal who had passed one heavenly tribulation, he was trying hard in developing his blessed land. He wanted to sell the slippery soil in his blessed land, and because of his past experiences, he even lowered the price by a little, to think that it was going to be sold out so quickly. This was great news to him. Han Yu's will carried 202 immortal essence stones, the entire will's body was shaking, he was very excited. In my previous life, I was just like this. Fang Yuan saw this and sighed internally. Han Yu was the norm among most rank 6 Gu Immortals. Fang Yuan, during his previous life, had even been inferior, because he was a blood path Gu Immortal. But it was different now. Just the Guts Gu trade, which was a monopoly, was bringing him immense profits. After taking the resources of He Fan Grotto Heaven, Fang Yuan's own wealth had reached an unprecedented level. Not just 200 immortal essence stones, he could take out 2,000 without batting an eyelid. All in all, Fang Yuan's financial situation was quite good now. After buying the slippery soil, Fang Yuan moved his divine sense around and went to buy several types of soil. After reaching his goal, Fang Yuan withdrew his divine sense and brought the soils back to the sovereign immortal aperture. He controlled the strength path immortal zombies. They scattered the soils into different areas of mini southern border in the sovereign immortal aperture. The scenery in mini southern border had already drastically changed. Forests were everywhere, causing greenery to overwhelm the lands. Tall ancient trees and pine trees, the straight cottonwood, the short shrubs, and an uncountable number of grass and flowers made mini southern border vivid and full of life all of a sudden. These were just ordinary plants, there were lots of high-grade resources mixed in among them. Like the musical trees, they were in the greatest quantity. This type of tree had curvy branches, they were quite unique. There were birds on the branches, mostly chi-death birds, they had distinct calls and chirped loudly. Originally, mini southern border was completely empty, but it was quite lively now. Other than birds, there were lots of deer, squirrels, monkeys, snakes, tigers, and other animals. They formed into a proper ecological cycle. Originally, mini southern border only had a few mounds. But now, there were more than 10 mountains here. These mountains were all moved in by Fang Yuan from Heifan Grotto Heaven. Ordinary GU immortals could not move mountains, but his pulling mountain immortal GU could be used for this. Right now, among the mountains, the tallest one was Immortal Succession Mountain. The stone pavilions were still on the mountain. Fang Yuan did not remove them, but the inheritances inside were all taken away. After a long time, Fang Yuan finally finished controlling all of the immortal zombies to scatter the soil at their proper locations. Fang Yuan observed for a while, before stopping in satisfaction. With these soils, these plants would be able to grow well for some time. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture had few earth path Dao marks. The space was also very big, it had 5 regions and 9 heavens. Mini southern border could not have many earth path Dao marks after they were distributed. With few earth path Dao marks, Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture would not have mountains forming, the soil would not be thick or fertile. The vegetation in mini southern border was almost completely from Heifan Grotto Heaven. Inside Heifan Grotto Heaven, these plants and trees were growing well, they were dense and green. But after moving into Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture, because of the sparse earth path Dao marks, they were drying out, and appeared to be lacking nutrients. Fang Yuan could only buy lots of fertile soil, like slippery soil, to scatter them in mini southern border, resolving the problem. But this does not solve the underlying issue. These different soils will turn into ordinary soil after some time, the earth path Dao marks in them would dissipate. These soils were just mortal GU materials, they had fragmented earth path Dao marks in them. After the grass and trees absorb the nutrients, these scattered earth path Dao marks would mostly vanish. Only by undergoing tribulation or absorbing the Dao marks of an earth path GU immortal, to increase the earth path Dao marks in the immortal aperture, can I resolve the problem. Fang Yuan knew this clearly. Fang Yuan could not undergo the 5th earthly calamity in the northern icy plain anymore. This time, he could choose to go southern border, or any place with rich earth path Dao marks for his tribulation, hoping to encounter an earth path earthly calamity. Once he encountered an earth path earthly calamity, after going through it, Fang Yuan's problem would be alleviated. As for killing an earth path GU immortal to absorb their Dao marks, it was not easy. Earth path GU immortals with low cultivation level did not have many earth path Dao marks. And those with high cultivation level were too strong, there was too great of a risk for Fang Yuan to deal with them. Until now, Fang Yuan had already gone through 4 earthly calamities. The first was the snow monster calamity, there were iron crown eagles, ruin bats and others. The second was the wind flowers and snow moons calamity, the third was the spring dawn jade orioles and giant disaster blazing trees, the fourth was the profound white flying salt calamity. Because the sovereign immortal aperture surpassed the 10 extreme physiques combined, Heaven's will was wary of it. During each earthly calamity, it would increase the strength of the earthly calamity to the greatest limit allowed. Earthly calamities of such difficulty greatly surpassed other GU immortals, by several or even over a dozen times. Thus, Fang Yuan also made incredible gains, he obtained more than a dozen times the Dao marks each tribulation. As a result, Fang Yuan had the highest number of ice and snow path Dao marks, followed by transformation path, strength path, chi path, rule path. There were also some from luck path, blood path, and others. The entire sovereign immortal aperture had improved drastically after obtaining Heifan Grotto Heaven's resources. Because the space was huge, at the moment, only mini southern border was quite lively, even though the other areas had some resources, they did not have such a complete ecosystem as mini southern border. There were many desolate beasts, giant horned sheep, shark-fin wolves, dragonfish, eagle-hounds and others. In terms of ancient desolate beasts, he had remnant heavenly dogs and a falling starhound infant. He also had an immemorial desolate beast, that was the upper extreme heavenly eagle, but it had turned into an egg already. There were some desolate plants too, he even had an ancient desolate plant, that was the walking meat tree. All in all, Fang Yuan's accumulated resources currently match GU Immortals at the peak of rank 7. Chu Du was probably similar to Fang Yuan now. As for Feng Juzhe, he was heavily nurtured by a super force, Fang Yuan was still inferior to him. After scattering the soil, Fang Yuan's concentration returned to soul-searching the captive GU Immortal souls. Fang Yuan's immortal aperture had many GU Immortal captives, in fact. There were many GU Immortal souls. The focus of his soul search this time was on the 9 GU Immortal souls in Heifan Grotto Heaven. Feng Jun's luck path true inheritance and Chen Li's concealment method were quite impressive, Fang Yuan was interested in them. You are not He Chang. Who are you, you unscrupulous scoundrel, kill me if you dare. Spare me, please spare me, as long as you resurrect me, I will be your most loyal servant. Among these GU Immortal souls, some questioned him, some cursed him and wanted to die, while some wanted to survive. Fang Yuan did not conceal himself as He Cheng anymore, after all, familiar face also needed to consume immortal essence, and attitude GU needed to use his mental energy. Towards these GU Immortals' cries, Fang Yuan ignored them, he soul-searched them without pause. Every day, he would soul-search them for a period of time. In about 3 days, I will be done searching the memories of these souls, I would know everything about them. After his soul-searching, Fang Yuan collated his gains, retracting his mind. He left the Cloud City, moving towards Luopo Valley. There, his soul went out of his body, as he underwent tough soul path cultivation. Fang Yuan had already used Danghun Mountain and Luopo Valley for some time, his soul foundation had already reached dozens of times as before. However, he was still not confident of placing his soul into his original body. This problem is the most troublesome. Even if my soul foundation increases, it is still hard to avoid Shadow Sect's possible hidden methods. Who knows, Ying Wu Xia's arrangements might become stronger if my soul has greater foundation. Perhaps the stronger my soul, the deeper Shadow Sect's trap. Ying Wu Xia knows I have Luopo Valley and Danghun Mountain, when setting the trap, there is no way he did not consider these details. His daily soul cultivation ended, Fang Yuan's soul returned to his body, he stood up shakily. He had a grim expression. As long as he could use Wisdom GU, his strength would increase at an explosive rate. Many development problems he was facing now were related to Wisdom GU. As long as he could use Wisdom GU, many problems would be resolved instantly. I have Wisdom GU, and the Strength Path Immortal Zombie Body, I just need that final key. Fang Yuan mentally sighed helplessly. Just like this, Fang Yuan stayed in Langya Blessed Land for 7 days. He cultivated unceasingly, he did not relax for even a minute. His soul foundation grew again, he completely searched the souls of the 9 GU Immortals. Fang Yuan also used half of his Langya sect contribution points to trade for some heavenly crystals and even put up some GU refinement missions. Self-will GU, year GU, month GU, day GU, as well as all the other mortal GU, he needed a huge quantity of them. He would rather spend sect contribution points to get these mortal GU, getting the hairy man GU masters and GU immortals to refine them for him. This could save him a lot of time and energy. 7 days later, he left Langya Blessed Land, heading for Eastern Sea. Chapter 1149, Desiring the Information Path Inheritance. The great winds blew, carrying the salty flavor of the seawater. Fang Yuan sat on top of a cloud, he traveled quickly while splitting his attention towards the information path Mortal GU in his hand. This Mortal GU was from Bingzhou. The snowman GU immortal who dual-wielded spears and was skilled at close combat, he told Fang Yuan in the letter. The ice tear had significant meaning to the snowman tribe, it was not just a GU refinement material, it was the token of one's love. HMPH. Fang Yuan smiled coldly, he crushed that information path Mortal GU in his hands. Pure white clouds carried him on his journey. The wind caused his hair to flutter in the sky, he had a fair face like jade, he was extremely handsome, almost enchanting, his dark abyss-like eyes looked down at the deep blue sea, showing traces of cold flickering light. How could Fang Yuan not know about the meaning of the ice tear to the snowmen? Don't forget, he was someone who had lived for 500 years, even though his cultivation level was not high, his knowledge was definitely vast. Not just the ice tear, Fang Yuan had deep knowledge regarding the wine culture of variant humans. During the earlier banquet, Sixth Hair accused Fang Yuan of not knowing about the variant human drinking culture. In fact, Fang Yuan was just pretending to not know, he was probing the attitude of the snowmen and rockmen. Sometimes, acting ignorant allows someone to have more options. The matter of the iced hair was like this. Fang Yuan pretended to be unaware, but he knew it clearly on the inside. Accepting the iced hair was accepting Shui Er's love. But if he did not accept it, he would ruin the cooperative relationship between himself and the snowmen and rockmen. Getting together with Shui Er. The disadvantages were greater than the advantages. The snowman tribe was after Fang Yuan's rank 8 battle strength, from the upper extreme heavenly eagle. Disregarding how much benefits Fang Yuan could gain from the snowman tribe, just this point alone, he could not fulfill it. The upper extreme heavenly eagle had already become an egg. Even though Fang Yuan spent a portion of his Langya sect contribution points to get some heavenly crystals, the amount was not enough. He could not hatch the upper extreme heavenly eagle egg yet. Marrying Shui Er would tie me closely to the snowman tribe. We would be sure to establish a marriage agreement. Right now, I already have Langya sect's agreement and Chu Du's alliance agreement. There is also the alliance agreement of the 4 races. My freedom is greatly limited now. If I add in the marriage agreement, aren't I just finding problems for myself? While Fang Yuan benefited from these alliance agreements, he also had to undergo missions for them in return. For example, if Langya Blessed Land was attacked by enemies, Fang Yuan would have to reinforce them and fight to his death if needed. Langya Land Spirit followed the rules, because the Land Spirit was not crafty like humans, it followed the rules of Langya sect closely and did not restrict Fang Yuan. But the Snowman tribe was different. They were variant humans, their intelligence was lower than humans. But after being suppressed for so many years, and living pitifully in the northern icy plain, the immense pressure for survival had honed their strong battle strength and keen perception. If Fang Yuan wanted to marry a snowman, the snowman tribe would do everything they could to squeeze out Fang Yuan's value. By then, Fang Yuan would unable to help himself. The snowmen and rockmen live under the northern icy plain. The rockmen have the immemorial rock dragon, it has rank 8 battle strength, but the snowmen do not. Thus, they want me to marry Shui Er, so that they can also have rank 8 battle strength and contest evenly with the rockman tribe. Do not look at how cohesive the rockmen and snowmen were when attending to Fang Yuan. Were they really living in such harmony? The 2 sides were living under the icy plain, sharing a tiny area together, how could there not be conflicts? They were 2 different races after all. But because of the big picture, they maintained reason and tolerated each other. One could imagine that the rockman tribe with the immemorial rock dragon would usually win when there were conflicts. The snowmen must have suffered many losses, but they endured it all along. The rockman tribe had greater status after all. This could be seen from many small details during the alliance. For example, the GU Immortal Shizong usually was the first to speak, instead of the snowman GU Immortals. If I marry Shui Er, no, even if I just accept her feelings, it would mean that I am siding with the snowmen. Unavoidably, I would be involved in the conflict between both the rockmen and snowmen. Once there were internal conflicts, Shui Er would find Fang Yuan and hope that he would mediate their conflicts. As an ally, he could not reject them. But the rockman tribe gave Fang Yuan more benefits. After all, they were trading guts GU. How could Fang Yuan ruin his relationship with the rockmen just because of a woman, and cause his gains to be smaller? These last days, not just Bing Zhou's letter, he had also obtained letters from other Inkmen, Snowman, and Rockman GU Immortals. Including Shui Er. Their intent was to rope in Fang Yuan. Rank 8 battle strength was simply too alluring. The reason why Fang Yuan left Northern Plains and went to Eastern Sea was to avoid these GU Immortals. It also meant that he could avoid many problems in the future. I am purely making use of these variant humans. But our relationship is uncontrollably deepening. Once any mishaps happen, I will die along with them. I need to leave and gain freedom, so that I can retreat with ease. Fang Yuan was well aware of the situation. Furthermore, Langya Land Spirit was showing the intention of recruiting Chu Du. This made Fang Yuan feel great threat. Should Chu Du join, it would greatly affect Fang Yuan's status in Langya sect. The reason why Langya Land Spirit wanted to recruit Chu Du was also worth considering. Even though Langya Land Spirit gave him this mission, Fang Yuan decided to stall it. He was not going to be so stupid as to wholeheartedly try recruiting Chu Du. Eastern Sea Information Path Inheritance, Fang Yuan thought to himself. This was one of the reasons why he was in Eastern Sea. If Fang Yuan could obtain a method from this information path inheritance to get rid of the restrictions of the alliance agreements, that would be best. Fang Yuan would gain the complete initiative within his alliances. However, this information path inheritance was only his secondary objective. Fang Yuan had another primary goal. Several days later, Eastern Sea, turbulent flow sea area. Spare me, I surrender. Lu Qingyu was kneeling on the ground, he was covered in injuries, he had no will to fight. He was a rank 7 lone immortal, he even collaborated with 3 rank 6 comrades just now. To think that they would be ambushed in this turbulent flow sea area, the 3 rank 6 GU immortals that he invited were already dead. Their enemies were 4 mysterious GU immortals. Lu Qingyu was considerably knowledgeable, but he had never heard of these 4 strong experts in the entire Eastern Sea GU immortal world. These 4 were all very unique. The one with the highest cultivation level had rank 7 aura, but he was a Rockman GU immortal. The other 3 were rank 6 GU immortals, one was a beautiful and bold female immortal, one was a kindly old man, and one was an ordinary-looking immortal zombie. No matter which one, they were formidable GU immortal experts. But the strange thing to Lu Qingyu was, their leader was not the Rockman GU immortal or the bold female immortal or the old man, it was the ordinary rank 6 immortal zombie. Oh, surrendering, hee, you know your place. The rank 6 immortal zombie rubbed his chin, saying as he chuckled. If Fang Yuan were here, he would know who this person was. That's right, it was Ying Wuxie. HMPH, a spineless coward, no wonder he was not my match. We should kill him and give Shi Nu some Earth Path Dao marks. He Lu Lan was covered in orange flames. The Rockman GU immortal Shi Nu had no expression, he looked at Ying Wuxie as he said slowly, I will listen to master. No, Lu Qingyu quickly shouted, he had a frantic and helpless expression, even though I am a rank 7 GU immortal, my immortal GU are only rank 6. However, Fairy, you have rank 7 immortal GU and even so many fire path killer moves, it was no wonder I could not defeat you. Ying Wuxie laughed, waving his hand. Right now, my shadow sect needs members, I will give you a chance to live. Do not resist, I will use an immortal killer move to make the alliance agreement. Thank you Lord for sparing my life, thank you Lord for sparing my life. Lu Qingyu was overjoyed, he was crying as he kowtowed continuously. Ying Wuxie's alliance agreement was extremely strict. But Lu Qingyu wanted to survive, everything else was secondary. It is a soul path method indeed, He Lu Lan observed on the side, Ying Wuxie used a soul path method to achieve the effects of information path. It was like Fang Yuan's 100 years harmony, it could unleash the effects of another path. From now on, you are a member of Shadow Sect, get up. After making the alliance agreement, Ying Wuxie smiled. Lord, I am willing to offer my immortal GU. Lu Qingyu did not get up. He held his 2 rank 6 immortal GU above his head. Ying Wuxie laughed. I do not care for these 2 immortal GU, you can keep them, in the future, if you perform well, I can grant you rank 7 immortal GU or even true inheritances, that is not a problem. Thank you, Lord, for your kindness. Lu Qingyu was overjoyed with tears. Speaking of which, this place is so remote, and there are many islands around us, why are you here at this island? Ying Wuxie asked, he was suspicious that his movements were exposed. Lu Qingyu heard this and smiled bitterly, Lord, this is all a misunderstanding. I was just trying to find a place to rest. Sigh, I will have to explain from the start. In this turbulent flow sea area, I found the clues to an information path true inheritance. It turned out that back then, Lu Qingyu chased after the blood path demonic immortal, wanting to get his information path inheritance clues. In the end, he killed this person and had no gains, the 2 other rank 7 GU immortals became suspicious of him instead. Thinking about it, he felt that Fang Yuan was the most suspicious, the information path true inheritance clues were likely in his hands. Lu Qingyu could not let it go, he brought a group of GU immortals and entered turbulent flow sea area secretly, attempting to find the clues or wait for Fang Yuan to arrive. After hearing Lu Qingyu's story, He Lu Lan, Ying Wuxie, and the others smiled. This Lu Qingyu was simply too unlucky. He wanted to find a place to rest, but he ended up going towards Shadow Sect's secret base instead. Ying Wuxie's expression suddenly changed. Wait, the GU immortal who you were suspicious of earlier, what was his appearance? Chapter 1150. Turbulent Flow Sea Battle 1/2. Lu Qingyu repeated his words from before. Ying Wuxie's expression turned grim very quickly. Fang Yuan had used familiar face when traveling from southern border to northern plains, he had concealed his appearance. But familiar face could not conceal immortal GU effects or immortal killer moves. When he was in Eastern Sea, Fang Yuan had fought with Lu Qingyu, Tang Song, and Zhou Li. He unavoidably revealed some methods. Even though Ying Wuxie did not know Fang Yuan's appearance at that time, from Lu Qingyu's description, he felt a sense of familiarity. Following his intuition, he probed, and Lu Qingyu described this opponent in greater detail. Flying Sword Immortal Gu, Sword Escape Immortal Gu, Ying Wuxie thought to himself. Looking at the timing, it matched perfectly. Ying Wuxie felt that the Gu Immortal who Lu Qingyu fought was very likely to be Fang Yuan. It is quite coincidental, I actually got information about Fang Yuan like this. Hee, heaven's will. Ying Wuxie raised his head, looking at the sky. The turbulent flow sea area's sky was covered in clouds and fog the entire time. At this moment, Ying Wuxie could feel that beyond these clouds, heaven's will was looking at him closely. For heaven's will, be it Fang Yuan, who has the sovereign immortal aperture, or spectral soul demon Venerable, who is attempting to defy fate by reviving and reaching the apex again, they were targets to suppress and eliminate. Of course, in the past, spectral soul was the biggest target, but now, Fang Yuan was the one who attracted its attention the most. But currently, heaven's will was making an arrangement, attempting to lure Fang Yuan and Ying Wuxie together, so that they would fight each other. This was a method that killed two birds with one stone. It was a plan that saved a lot of effort. Ying Wuxie assessed this as he transmitted secretly to He Lulan. He Lulan was slightly dazed. She did not find anything wrong earlier because she was not familiar with flying sword and sword escape. After reacting, she was a little shocked. Ying Wuxie discovered something so significant, he is actually discussing with me. But soon, He Lulan realized, if she were in Ying Wuxie's position, she would do the same thing herself to analyze the situation. Until now, Tai Bai Yunsheng was still kept in the dark. She knew had absolute loyalty, but he was a variant human, he could not think as flexibly. She herself had the Shadow Sect Alliance agreement, she was bound to Ying Wuxie, she had no choice but to plot together with him. Dealing with Fang Yuan, He Lulan had complex emotions. She had a rather complex relationship with Fang Yuan. They were enemies at first, before becoming allies, but now with a twist of fate, they were enemies again. Even He Lulan had to admit it herself, Fang Yuan was a huge help and had great influence on her. But soon, He Lulan calmed down and transmitted, your analysis makes sense, but you only guessed Fang Yuan's identity, how can you be sure he will come here? Just because of the information path true inheritance. Not only is the information path inheritance's crucial clue gone, even if he obtained it, what does that have to do with us? He might not come here and encounter us. Ying Wuxie smiled coldly, that is because you don't understand heaven's will. Earlier, to obstruct Fang Yuan, heaven's will made a plan, that was to lure Fang Yuan with the information path true inheritance. But Fang Yuan is crafty and vigilant, he did not fall into the trap. He went to northern plains without stopping, this was a wise decision. Heaven's will's arrangements inside the turbulent flow sea area were completely wasted. Ying Wuxie's understanding was a little off. The truth was, Fang Yuan did not sense the information path true inheritance's clues back then. After all, the clue was concealed in Flying Sword Immortal Gu. Of course, even if Fang Yuan found them, with his personality, it would not have slowed down his return to Langya Blessed Land. Right now, Fang Yuan obtained He Fan's true inheritance and has gained immense strength. But he is in Langya sect, and has recently been added to the Four Races Alliance. He also has an alliance agreement with Chudu, he has huge needs in the information path aspect. Thus, he is likely to come here, following the true inheritance's clues to obtain this information path inheritance. Ying Wuxie continued. Undoubtedly, suffering and setbacks were of value in life. Ying Wuxie had gone through many difficulties, his mind was sharper and more vigilant now, he had the demeanor of an expert. He Lulan was quite familiar with Fang Yuan's situation. The intel that Fang Yuan had exposed reached Ying Wuxie through sixth hair. In order to draw out He Lulan's hatred towards Fang Yuan, Ying Wuxie had told her a portion of the information. He Lulan's eyes burst out with brilliance, she had an understanding. You mean to say, Lu Qingyu is a reminder to us from heaven's will. That's right, Lu Qingyu might have chosen this place by coincidence, but he was actually subconsciously influenced by heaven's will. He purposely chose our island, it is too much of a coincidence. Heaven's will probably thinks that the trap earlier can no longer affect Fang Yuan, who has gotten much stronger, thus, it wants to make use of us to deal with Fang Yuan. Ying Wuxie looked at the sky, showing a cold smile. Know yourself and your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Shadow sect had opposed Heaven's will for so many years, Ying Wuxie was naturally aware about Heaven's will's goals and schemes. Then, we can use this chance to ambush Fang Yuan. Aren't you trying to get back the sovereign immortal body? He Lulan transmitted. Ying Wuxie turned around, looking at He Lulan. The two were secretly transmitting to each other. They did not talk for long, the other three immortals only saw Ying Wuxie looking at the sky for a while, before he turned around and walked back. Ying Wuxie did not speak, he took huge steps, leading the way. Behind him, Shi Nu, Tai Bai Yun Sheng, and He Lulan followed after. Lu Qingyu, who was kneeling on the ground, was dazed, he quickly got up and followed behind them closely. He Lulan, Ying Wuxie suddenly transmitted, if we can capture Fang Yuan this time, I will grant you freedom. He Lulan's body and mind shook. But soon, she reacted, replying, only a child would be fooled by that, would you willingly let go of my battle strength? Ha ha ha, you truly know me well, Lulan. Ying Wuxie laughed, admitting it openly. How will you deal with Fang Yuan? He has rank 8 battle strength. He Lulan asked. Ying Wuxie's smile faded, he sighed, He Lulan could hear the helplessness in his tone. Next, she heard Ying Wuxie. I am not going to deal with him, the immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle is very hard to deal with. No, we can, if we use that secluded domain of heaven and earth, can't we succeed? He Lulan asked. You really want him to die? I remember that you have gone through thick and thin before. HMPH, every man for himself, if he dies or is defeated, there are only advantages to me, there are no disadvantages. He Lulan showed a cold killing intent. Ying Wuxie rejected this alluring suggestion, even if we use that place, my goal cannot be achieved. I need to capture Fang Yuan alive, the material needs to be fresh. If we use that place, we can only make the upper extreme heavenly eagle lose its threat temporarily. Furthermore, even if we could, I would not do it. Ying Wuxie smiled. He Lulan, why? Not considering the big picture is simply short-sighted. Like how Fang Yuan did not take the information path inheritance earlier, as long as we save my main body, we will have a great advantage. My memories are limited, if we fight with Fang Yuan now, we will be falling into Heaven's will's trap. We will leave Eastern Sea. However, before leaving, we can leave behind some arrangements as a present for Fang Yuan. He. Ying Wuxie transmitted a laugh. A day later, I am finally here. Turbulent flow sea area. Fang Yuan stood on a cloud, he looked at this sea area as he sighed. Rumors said that there was an intense battle between GU immortals here. There were no rank 8 experts among the participating GU immortals, but there were many rank 6 and 7 GU immortals. Because their battle was too intense, the Dao marks carved in this area caused a change in the environment. In the end, a unique place in Eastern Sea, Turbulent Flow Sea area, was created. Because of this reason, there were many GU immortal inheritances hidden inside the Turbulent Flow Sea area, or their wealth left behind after death. In history, there were lucky people who obtained GU immortal inheritances inside the Turbulent Flow Sea area. Even though the lucky people were few, these rumors caused many people to be attracted to this sea area. Many Eastern Sea GU immortals as well as GU immortals of Central Continent, Northern Plains and Southern Border would often come to the Turbulent Flow Sea area to search for fortuitous encounters. Fang Yuan's gaze swept across the sea water. The Turbulent Flow Sea area's water was very unique, the surface was calm, but there were many undercurrents below. These currents were of all types and forms. They interlinked with one another, they moved in this sea area with absolutely no rhythm or pattern. Precisely because of this, GU immortals called this the Turbulent Flow Sea area. Fang Yuan looked at the sky again. The sky had many white clouds, shrouding his vision, he could not see any starlight. Even when the sun was blazing, the sunlight could not penetrate the cloud layers, it only made the place brighter. When GU immortals entered the Turbulent Flow Sea area, they often lost their sense of direction. These cloud layers were one of the causes. Because of the clouds, GU immortals could not determine their precise location. It was impossible to get rid of these clouds. To do that, one was contesting against heaven and earth. GU immortals with such abilities were at least rank 8 great experts, they were very rare. Paying a huge price to destroy these clouds would also destroy the Turbulent Flow Sea area. To them, it was not worth the effort at all. Breathing in deeply, Fang Yuan's aura surged as Immortal GU aura burst out from within him. Immortal Investigative Killer Move, Qi Luck Sensation. This move was obtained from Feng Jun's inheritance, it used Qi Luck Immortal GU as the core, it could sense people who were closely connected by luck to the GU Immortal user. The closer the distance, the clearer the effects. Oh, they are nearby. They are in the turbulent flow sea area. Chapter 1151. Turbulent Flow Sea Battle 2 Halves. 5 GU Immortals were moving along the surface of the sea. With the appropriate arrangement, as long as Fang Yuan falls for it, he will suffer. Even if we cannot trap him, we can greatly delay his growth. Ying Wuxie felt a little smug. Fang Yuan's development was too fast, it was terrifying. Heaven's will was trying all means possible to kill him, it even used the snowmen and rockmen. They had to suppress him. Earlier, Fang Yuan was in Langya blessed land, Ying Wuxie could not do anything. Now that he was coming over, they were going to teach him a lesson. Of course, they could not act personally. They had a huge responsibility, he had the most important task to rebuild Shadow Sect. This is good, we can suppress Fang Yuan while not falling into Heaven's will's trap. Suddenly, Ying Wuxie's gaze froze. Be careful, there is a desolate beast in the sea, it is moving rapidly, it is very strange. Ying Wuxie frowned, reminding them. Merely a desolate beast. Rank 7 GU Immortal Shi Nu attacked. Boom, huge ripples and waves appeared on the water surface, as Fang Yuan emerged and showed himself. I finally found you, Ying Wuxie. Fang Yuan's mouth opened, revealing a ruthless smile. The 5 immortals were stunned, this was the first time they were seeing Fang Yuan. Because Fang Yuan was vigilant, before setting off on this trip, he had already changed his appearance. You are. Suddenly, Ying Wuxie's body shook. He used Luck Inspection Immortal GU, seeing that Fang Yuan's tall luck was exactly the same as his in Heilu Lan's luck. Connect Luck Immortal GU. Ying Wuxie had used Connect Luck on Heilu Lan. And Heilu Lan was luck connected to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's appearance could change, but his luck was unconcealed. Seeing his luck, Ying Wuxie realized that this was Fang Yuan. Quick, the ancient battle formation. He shouted loudly, panicking. The other 3 immortals had coordination, they subconsciously acted, using the ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel. Swoosh, the 4 immortals disappeared completely. Only one person was left behind. Lu Qingyu. Fang Yuan. The two looked at each other, falling into silence. Ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel. It could allow Ying Wuxie and the rest to escape from Heavenly Court's GU Immortals, it naturally had incredible effect. Fang Yuan was seeing it for the first time as well. Thus, he was speechless. Even though he had some guesses, after seeing it personally, he still felt quite shocked. This method might be strong, but as long as I have Qi Luck sensation, I will be able to find them. Now, I should kill this person first. Fang Yuan thought as his attention went over to Lu Qingyu. Lu Qingyu, seeing Fang Yuan's cold gaze filled with killing intent, he subconsciously flew backwards. His mood was even worse than Fang Yuan. He had tried so hard to obtain the information path inheritance, yet it got snatched away. After killing the blood path demonic immortal, the crucial clue was lost. He returned to the turbulent flow sea area to wait, but he encountered Ying Wuxie, his helpers were all killed, and he had to surrender. So be it if he surrendered, so be it if the alliance agreement was overbearing, he admitted his loss. So be it if he had to call Ying Wuxie his boss. For his life, Lu Qingyu was determined to become a core member of this group called Shadow Sect. However, when leaving Eastern Sea, a person suddenly appeared. And next, Ying Wuxie ran away. He ran. Not only did he run, the other 3 GU Immortals also ran. And they ran so quickly. In literally one moment, they vanished without a trace. This is absurd. Lu Qingyu really wanted to swear. But he could not. He was under the alliance agreement, he had to be polite to Ying Wuxie at all times. If he cursed, he would face the backlash of the information path Dao marks. Lu Qingyu's current mood was simply terrible, it was at rock bottom. He did not recognize Fang Yuan, because Fang Yuan was only rank 6 now. But Lu Qingyu sensed that Fang Yuan was a GU Immortal that was rank 6 as well. This time, Fang Yuan had casually changed his appearance, in terms of aura, he did not conceal anything. His main goal was to kill Ying Wuxie and the rest. Everyone knew each other and their cultivation level, his aura was not too important. This caused Lu Qingyu to feel deeply aggrieved. Against a rank 6 GU Immortal, why are you running? Running for what? We have 2 rank 7s and 3 rank 6s, we are all experts. Why are you running? Ah, why did you run? Lu Qingyu screamed internally, furious. But he could not get any answers. He had joined Shadow Sect for too short of a time, Ying Wuxie did not expect Fang Yuan to come so quickly, he did not tell Lu Qingyu some details. If Ying Wuxie told Lu Qingyu that the reason why they fled was because Fang Yuan had the rank 8 battle strength, upper extreme heavenly eagle, then Lu Qingyu would not scream like this internally, he would definitely flee more quickly than Ying Wuxie and He Lulan. Oh, no, he could not outrun them. But in terms of effort, he would definitely exceed them. Rank 8 battle strength was no joke, killing them was as easy as killing an ant. This is the deterrence of rank 8. At this time, Fang Yuan had a lot of insight. Ying Wuxie and the rest fled, they were wise and resolute. If their positions were reversed, Fang Yuan would escape too. Earlier in the northern icy plain, he did not flee, that was because Fang Yuan could not begin to escape. It was not that he did not want to. There was no shame in running away. For an old demon like Fang Yuan, temporary retreat was a brilliant tactic in battle. However, Ying Wuxie and the rest did not know that the upper extreme heavenly eagle had died already, it had returned to being an unhatched egg. Even though Fang Yuan told this to Lang Ya land spirit, he had asked him to not leak out this secret. Thus, Sixth Hair only obtained intel about the earlier part, he could not tell Ying Wuxie about the most crucial intel that was kept secret. At this moment, Ying Wuxie and the rest left, only Lu Qingyu was left. This situation was very good for Fang Yuan. Originally, Fang Yuan was a bit concerned in chasing after them, after all, they had an advantage in numbers, there were 2 rank 7 GU immortals. Fang Yuan recognized Lu Qingyu, but this was the first time he saw she knew. Now, once Fang Yuan's identity was exposed, Ying Wuxie ran away, only Lu Qingyu stayed. It was correct to escape. Trying to probe a rank 8 was courting death. During the Grey Cloud Battle Puppet Killer move, Fang Yuan did not dare to probe the immemorial rock dragon as well. Right now, Fang Yuan was considering killing Lu Qingyu first. Eliminating him would weaken their combined strength, this was a good chance to take them down, if Fang Yuan could not make use of it, he would definitely get hit by lightning. After killing him, I would be able to use Soul Search and obtain intel regarding Ying Wuxie and the rest. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan attacked. Sword mark targeting death. At once, he used an extraordinary sword path killer move. Even though Lu Qingyu was screaming internally, he was still filled with immense wariness. The logic was simple, he was something who made Ying Wuxie and the rest so fearful, even though he was a rank 6 GU immortal, he was definitely dangerous. Lu Qingyu was already completely focused against this huge foe. At this moment, sword light flew out, Lu Qingyu quickly moved, dodging Fang Yuan's attack. Sure enough, this guy is also a rank 6 GU immortal with rank 7 immortal GU. Sword path. Lu Qingyu thought bitterly, he only had 2 rank 6 immortal GU, he had lost to He Lulan earlier because of this. After some rounds of fighting, Lu Qingyu was in a disadvantaged position. He was a lone cultivator, even though his cultivation level was higher, with rank 7 cultivation level, he had only 2 rank 6 immortal GU, his immortal killer moves were also deduced by himself, they were not exemplary and few in number too. After another dozen rounds, Fang Yuan had almost completely understood Lu Qingyu's methods. He only used the same few moves over and over again, how could he not learn everything? Lu Qingyu was covered in sweat, he was in a sad state. Even though Fang Yuan could not use Blood Acid Immortal GU temporarily, he had other time path defensive methods, he could easily attack or defend, he had an easy time. His strength had grown too quickly. In the past, Lu Qingyu chased Fang Yuan and caused him to run, but now, Fang Yuan was suppressing him instead. Even though he had rank 6 cultivation level, in terms of battle strength, he far surpassed Lu Qingyu. No wonder Ying Wuxie ran, this is a monster. He is unbelievably powerful, and by the looks of it, he has not used his full strength yet. Lu Qingyu lost his motivation as he fought. He really wanted to surrender. But now was different, he had Shadow Sex Alliance agreement, he could not surrender to the enemy. He had only one option left, that was to fight to the death. Follow me if you dare. Lu Qingyu desperately avoided Fang Yuan's attack as he turned into a green rainbow, escaping towards the turbulent flow sea area. Too naive, Fang Yuan sneered, he pointed at Lu Qingyu's escape route. Immortal killer move, Year Beast summoning. A snake Year Beast tore through space, suddenly appearing and blocking Lu Qingyu. Lu Qingyu was obstructed and could not escape anymore. Fang Yuan used Sword Escape Immortal GU behind him and easily caught up to him, attacking. Lu Qingyu was struck, his life was over, his body self-detonated as his soul broke into several pieces. Fang Yuan quickly acted, but he only salvaged a portion. Lu Qingyu's immortal aperture also fell into the sea, sinking, as the heaven and earth chi surged into it, a blessed land was formed. His remnant soul was dissipating. It seemed to be Shadow Sect's method. Fang Yuan tried several methods but did not seem to be able to stop the soul from self-destructing. Fang Yuan quickly soul-searched. Dozens of memory fragments were seen by him. Fang Yuan was quite lucky. He saw the scene of Lu Qingyu and Ying Wuxie setting up the trap. Oh, it seems that after Ying Wuxie found out I have rank 8 battle strength, he knew he could not fight me, so he set up a trap to harm me. He has truly grown. The other fragments were useless. Soon, these remnant soul fragments dissipated completely. Lu Qingyu's body also turned into pulp. It was hard to collect it. Already, all of his Dao marks had returned to his immortal aperture. Fang Yuan let out a sigh. He wanted to absorb Lu Qingyu's Dao marks into himself. But GU immortals in the 5 regions were not so easy to loot. After some commotion, a blessed land was completely formed from the immortal aperture. The entrance opened. This was a rare chance to enter the blessed land. If he missed it, to enter it later, there would be much greater obstacles. In the past, when Fang Yuan placed Star Form Blessed Land and J-Pi Blessed Land, he also used these chances to enter the Blessed Land. Chapter 1152, Obtaining 5 Light Mountain. Quack, quack, inside Lu Qingyu's Blessed Land, there was a dorky duck calling out to Fang Yuan. This was the land spirit that was formed using heavenly power after Lu Qingyu's death. Appearances of land spirits differed drastically. A duck land spirit was nothing peculiar. Fang Yuan listened attentively. Even though all he heard was the duck quacking, in his mind, it was translated into words that Fang Yuan could understand the meaning of. In fact, He Fan's heavenly spirit was a brass bell, but it could communicate with people as well. Unfortunately, before He Fan died, he had allowed his immortal aperture to absorb a fragment of immemorial azure heaven. It caused heaven's will to enter and caused his heavenly spirit to lose intelligence. The condition of inheriting this Qingyu blessed land and becoming its owner is actually this. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed. He showed a look of joy and surprise. Even though Lu Qingyu was killed by Fang Yuan, his obsession was not to find Fang Yuan for revenge. He was not trying to locate Ying Wuxie and find trouble with him either. It was the whereabouts of the crucial clue to the information path inheritance. The clue to the information path inheritance is carved in Flying Sword Immortal GU. Fang Yuan took out Flying Sword Immortal GU, showing it to the duck land spirit, explaining the situation to it. A moment later, the duck land spirit circled around Fang Yuan, using its beak to peck Fang Yuan's white shoes. It was very fond of him. Fang Yuan was now the owner of the blessed land. However, this blessed land was quite desolate. It was not that Lu Qingyu had poor foundation, but after he joined Shadow Sect, the resources inside his immortal aperture were all taken away by Ying Wuxie. Ying Wuxie did not take Lu Qingyu's 2 immortal GU, that was because he wanted to preserve his battle strength and make him work like a slave. But Ying Wuxie took away his cultivation resources. This was leaving him no way out. In the future, when Lu Qingyu wanted to continue cultivating, he would lack resources. He could only rely on Shadow Sect. Fang Yuan only had to think for a bit before understanding this. As for Lu Qingyu's GU worms, they had already been destroyed. This applied to the 2 immortal GU and the mortal GU. Nothing was left for Fang Yuan. What is left in this blessed land? Fang Yuan looked around, asking the land spirit as he frowned. Qingyu blessed land was completely ransacked. It was left in a state similar to He Fan Grotto Heaven when Fang Yuan took over it. At this moment, Fang Yuan could somewhat feel what Chudu had gone through at that time. The duck land spirit. Quack, quack, quack. Fang Yuan turned around. Bring me there. The duck land spirit could not teleport. It brought Fang Yuan to the destination. A rainbow-colored mountain which was neither tall nor short was displayed before Fang Yuan. The mountain rocks were giving off green, red, yellow, blue, and white lights. There were no trees on the mountain, but there were many different types of grass. These types of grass had 10 colors. They shone together. They were more beautiful than a sea of flowers. It was a dazzling sight. 5 light mountain, 10 colored grass. Fang Yuan muttered. These were resources that Light Path GU immortals often cultivated. The special environment would cause this mountain to produce large numbers of Light Path mortal GU. Evidently, this 5 light mountain was heavily developed by Lu Qingyu. It was quite big. Ying Wuxie does not have Cooling Mountain immortal GU. He had no methods to move this mountain. He could only leave this here. Fang Yuan guessed the truth. Trees had tree roots. Mountains had mountain roots too. Mountains were not easy to move. Using brute strength would only cause the mountain to collapse. And methods to move mountains were very rare in the world. Back then, when Fang Yuan was able to move Luokou Valley, Even the rank 8 GU Immortal Prince Feng Xian was shocked. Even though Ying Wuxie inherited a portion of Shadow Sect's wealth, he lacked a method to move 5 Light Mountain. He originally had Pulling Mountain Immortal GU, but in those transactions, it was sold to Fang Yuan. When he saw this 5 Light Mountain and could not move it, he must have felt annoyed. All in all, this 5 Light Mountain was now Fang Yuan's property. Without hesitation, Fang Yuan used Pulling Mountain Immortal GU and moved this 5 Light Mountain into his own sovereign immortal aperture. He placed this mountain into Mini Southern Border. Mini Southern Border had many mountains, it was a place with rich earth path Dao marks to begin with. With the addition of 5 Light Mountain, all of the mountains from Heifan Grotto Heaven were outmatched. Immortal Succession Mountain could only become the second tallest mountain. After all, Immortal Succession Mountain was used as an inheritance ground, the inheritances were all gone now. 5 Light Mountain was now the biggest mountain in Mini Southern Border. I had some gains at last. Fang Yuan let out a breath of air. If he did not have 5 Light Mountain, his losses would be severe. Even though he won this battle, from Fang Yuan's perspective, victory had no value, the loot after winning did. It was a pity, even after taking 5 Light Mountain, Fang Yuan concluded that in this battle against Lu Qingyu, he still made losses. It could not be helped. He was using Green Grape Immortal Essence, and most of his Immortal GU were rank 7, he also had to use many Immortal Killer moves. In every battle, his Green Grape Immortal Essence expenditure was severe. Of course, blessed lands could annex each other. However, Lu Qingyu cultivated Light Path, this blessed land was a Light Path blessed land. Fang Yuan's Light Path attainment level was only ordinary, this was a rank 7 blessed land, he could not annex it. In the following period, Fang Yuan asked the Duck Land Spirit, he obtained a lot of intel. The Duck Land Spirit still remembered many details from when it was alive, this allowed Fang Yuan to become quite aware of the trap that Ying Wuxie set. And also regarding the information path True Inheritance, Fang Yuan also obtained some information. After obtaining the intel, Fang Yuan left behind some mortal GU for the Duck Land Spirit, and ordered that without his permission, it was never to open the Blessed Land's entrance. If any enemies attacked, it had to inform Fang Yuan using Treasure Yellow Heaven immediately. Lu Qingyu's rank 7 Red Date Immortal Essence was still left behind, Fang Yuan did not take them, he gave them to the Duck Land Spirit. Quack, quack. The Duck Land Spirit had tears in its eyes, it flapped one wing, saying goodbye to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan did not look back, he left the Blessed Land. The Blessed Land's entrance closed after he left. This rank 7 blessed land, as long as the entrance is shut and it is hidden well, it should not be discovered. However, if Heaven's will wants to harm me, it will have many ways of dealing with this blessed land. It would be great if I can keep this rank 7 blessed land, but even if I can't, it is fine. It has too little value anyway. Fang Yuan did not have the time to raise his Light Path attainment level, and his cultivation level was still far from reaching rank 7. To continue to pursue Ying Wuxie, Fang Yuan was hesitant. From the Duck Land Spirit, he had obtained a lot of information, he had a clearer understanding of their strength. Ying Wuxie had 4 GU Immortals including himself. A rank 7 GU Rockman GU Immortal named Xinu, he cultivated Earth Path. He Lulan was now a Strength and Fire Path cultivator. Tai Bai Yunsheng had lost his Time Path Immortal GU, but he now had Cloud Path Immortal GU, he had originally been secondarily cultivating Cloud Path. As for Ying Wuxie, he still had a Strength Path Immortal Zombie body. He still used Soul Path Immortal GU, he had the lowest cultivation level, but his battle strength was likely to be the highest or second highest. If Fang Yuan had the immemorial Upper Extreme Heavenly Eagle, he would pursue them immediately. But now, the Upper Extreme Heavenly Eagle was just an egg, even though Fang Yuan had many Immortal GU, looking at it, with his strength and intelligence, against Ying Wuxie's group, it was difficult to predict the winner. How long has it been? Ying Wuxie and the rest have already gained so much strength, it is truly out of my expectations. Fang Yuan's growth shocked Ying Wuxie and the rest. But Ying Wuxie and the rest also grew at a rate that shocked Fang Yuan. He had originally thought that Ying Wuxie and the others had suffered a huge setback after the transactions. To think that not long after, they had already recovered. Shadow Sect was already in shambles, but it was still not to be underestimated. Ying Wuxie and the others were truly huge threats from Fang Yuan's perspective. Because of Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU, Shadow Sect and Fang Yuan had an unresolvable conflict. Ying Wuxie was not dealing with Fang Yuan now, it was because saving his main body was more important, he was making a wise decision. Fang Yuan did not deal with Ying Wuxie earlier because he had insufficient strength, he needed to deal with the earthly calamities and try to develop his sovereign immortal aperture. Now that he had He Fan's true inheritance, with enough strength, he came to find Ying Wuxie straight away. Once Ying Wuxie saved his main body, Fang Yuan knew that he would no longer have any chance of victory. Because the other party was one of the 10 venerables, even though he had died before, Fang Yuan was not his match. Of course, there was still a crucial point. That was Wisdom Gu. Wisdom Gu was not lost, it was currently in Langya Blessed Land. Fang Yuan regained his former strength path immortal zombie body. There was just one key point. He was afraid that inside this immortal zombie body, there was a trap set by Ying Wuxie which targeted his soul. Fang Yuan did not dare to act rashly. He had thought of using other Gu immortal souls and putting them inside the immortal zombie body to test it out. But there were many flaws with this. Firstly, he had to undergo such experiments secretly. He could not take out his immortal zombie body openly. This would reveal many secrets to Langya Land Spirit. Secondly, even if he used Gu immortal souls to test it, they were unreliable. Because Fang Yuan was not clear if Ying Wuxie had set up traps that targeted weak or strong souls, or was it a trap specifically targeting otherworldly demons. The problem of using Wisdom Gu was the greatest restriction towards Fang Yuan's development. Thus, Fang Yuan thought of the plan in Eastern Sea. His main objective was to deal with Ying Wuxie. If he succeeded, he might be able to check from Ying Wuxie whether this immortal zombie body had any traps. If there was a trap, how would he resolve it? Ying Wuxie wanted to suppress Fang Yuan's growth speed, but Fang Yuan was also afraid that Ying Wuxie would grow too quickly and save his main body. Thus, when he came to Eastern Sea now, the information path inheritance was secondary. He went straight for the main objective. Ying Wuxie was his main goal. Chapter 1153, Fighting Across Vast Distance. Ahead was a deep blue veil, it completely covered the visions of Ying Wuxie and the others. Blue Water Regional Wall. Between the 5 regions, there were regional walls, they were like thin membrane which shielded the region. Blue Water Regional Wall was the protective membrane of Eastern Sea. The turbulent flow sea area was very close to Blue Water Regional Wall to begin with. Precisely because of this, when Fang Yuan was on the journey from southern border to northern plains, when he got close to the turbulent flow sea area, he encountered Lu Qingyu and the rest. Ying Wuxie and the other immortals used omnidirectional travel to directly reach this place. Are we leaving again? He Lu Lan sighed. Who was that person earlier? Tai Bai Yunsheng questioned. An enemy, a strong enemy, an irreconcilable enemy. Don't look at his rank 6 cultivation level, he has rank 8 battle strength. Ying Wuxie looked at Tai Bai Yunsheng, choosing to expose some information to him. Hearing this, Tai Bai Yunsheng breathed in sharply, he shouted in disbelief, rank 8 battle strength. He Lu Lan pretended to be shocked too. No wonder we had to retreat. She knew had no expression. Tai Bai Yunsheng suddenly thought of something, he showed sadness on his face. Sigh. Since he has rank 8 battle strength, Lu Qingyu is finished. It is a pity. Dying for Shadow Sect is his greatest honor. Shi Nu snorted, saying in disdain. Let's go, since he can chase us, we should increase our distance. That upper extreme heavenly eagle is an immemorial desolate beast that can roam the 9 heavens, it is likely to be a life form from the immemorial 9 heavens, it can travel in the 5 regional walls freely. He Lu Lan transmitted secretly, reminding Ying Wuxie. Ying Wuxie looked at her deeply, replying, don't worry, I have already checked the historical records in northern plains. Fang Yuan's upper extreme heavenly eagle came from He Fan, and the upper extreme heavenly eagle that He Fan had was raised in northern plains. If it enters the 5 regional walls, it would face suppression as well. We are quite safe now at the border of the regional wall. Is that so? He Lu Lan was stunned, before showing an expression of relief. Where are we going now? We cannot go to Central Continent, are we going to southern border to work on the rescue? He Lu Lan asked. Ying Wuxie smiled, he did not enter the Blue Water Regional Wall, instead, he used his immortal essence as aura of Gu worms burst out from within. His entire body was floating in the air, he turned around and looked in the direction of the turbulent flow sea area. Ripples appeared below his feet, making a soft sound. The cold and wet sea breeze blew on the 4 Gu immortals' faces. Wait, Ying Wuxie said one word in reply to He Lu Lan. Wait for what? Tai Bai Yunsheng was confused. Wait for the enemy, Ying Wuxie said. The rest of the 3 Gu immortals looked at each other, not understanding why. Since they retreated earlier, why were they waiting for him now? That person had rank 8 battle strength, why were they waiting for him? Waiting for him to kill them? He Lu Lan's expression changed. I see. See what? Tai Bai Yunsheng quickly asked. He was extremely lost. Shi Nu was expressionless, but his gaze also revealed curiosity. He Lulan smiled. Don't you find it strange? How did he know our location? When chasing us, why did he have such precise knowledge of our whereabouts? This time, even Shi Nu's expression changed. Tai Bai Yunsheng's tone became lower. He Lulan, you mean to say, we have a traitor? Impossible, how can the four of us unless, that Lu Qingyu is a spy? Wait, he went under an alliance agreement to join us, could the alliance agreement be exploited? The probability of a traitor is small. Ying Wuxie shook his head, replying. He looked at Tai Bai Yunsheng. Even though Tai Bai Yunsheng was kept in the dark, he was also under an alliance agreement from Ying Wuxie, he could not become a traitor. The most probable reason is, he has an investigative method that can track our locations. Ying Wuxie said. These last days, we have been staying in our base, we rarely went out. Tai Bai Yunsheng frowned. He Lulan smiled. GU immortal methods are unfathomably vast in number, some are incredibly brilliant, how much do we actually know? That's true. Tai Bai Yunsheng nodded. He Lulan continued. If we cannot find a way to counter it, no matter where we go, that enemy will find us, it is only a matter of time. Thus, Lord decided to stay here and not enter the regional wall. Lord is waiting for the other party to use his investigative killer move. I see, Shi Nu suddenly realized. Actually, a lot of information was only known to Ying Wuxie. At this moment, countless thoughts were forming and colliding in Ying Wuxie's mind. Even though he was a strength path immortal zombie and could not think well, he had lots of methods to bypass this flaw. Ying Wuxie was rapidly thinking now. What method is Fang Yuan using to find my location? I came to Eastern Sea secretly, how did the intel leak? Is he able to find my location in Northern Plains, across 2 regional walls? That is impossible, even Heavenly Court's GU immortals could not deduce anything after I used my GU formation to conceal my traces. No matter what is inside He Fan's true inheritance, he would not be able to do this. Heaven's will, Ying Wuxie had an answer in his mind. Since I can be plotted against by Heaven's will, gaining its reminder regarding Fang Yuan's intel, would Fang Yuan also receive the same information about me? This was very possible, but Ying Wuxie was not satisfied with this answer. If at this time, the person in my situation is not me but Fang Yuan, what would he do? What would he consider? He would consider the worst possible situation. And what was the worst possible situation? Ying Wuxie asked himself, and had answer, the other party has an investigative killer move that can pass regional walls to confirm my location. Ying Wuxie smiled, how could that be possible? But suddenly, his smile froze. He thought of a possibility. Luck path. Fang Yuan had the most important clue all along. It was that their lucks were all interconnected. Connect luck immortal GU. Back then, Ying Wuxie had no choice, he could only sell this immortal GU in Treasure Yellow Heaven. After transacting with Fang Yuan, Ying Wuxie obtained the GU refinement materials he needed. When Treasure Yellow Heaven opened, he took back Connect Luck immortal GU. Even though Fang Yuan had a new body, Connect Luck's effect also targeted his soul. Thus, his luck connection to He Lulan and the rest was still in effect. Ying Wuxie gained a lot of information from Shadow Sect regarding how to resist Heaven's will. There was one point, fate is hard to defy, but luck can be exploited. Using luck, one could deal with Heaven's will effectively. Who had better luck? Undoubtedly, it was Fang Yuan who owned dog shit luck immortal GU. Fang Yuan had dog shit luck, Ying Wuxie knew this clearly. Sixth Hair, who was in Langya Sect, was not to be forgotten. Thus, Ying Wuxie used Connect Luck and connected his own luck with He Lulan. Even though He Lulan was unwilling to, she could not resist. This way, Ying Wuxie and Fang Yuan truly had their luck connected. If he realizes this relationship and uses a luck path method, even if we are in 2 separate regions, he can still sense me, that is possible. Is it luck path? Right at this moment, Ying Wuxie's body shook. He saw it. Using luck inspection immortal GU, he saw that at this moment, the luck above him and He Lulan's head was shaking slightly. As expected, a luck path method. Impressive, Fang Yuan, to think that you even made use of the fact that we have Connect Luck, and found your way to us. It is a pity, I have understood your method already. Ying Wuxie's eyes flickered brightly. Even though he knew about Fang Yuan's method, Ying Wuxie could not break the luck connection. He did not have break luck immortal GU. However, he had a lot of soul path methods, he could influence and interfere with the luck. He tried them one by one, but the effect was not good. The luck was still shaking. In fact, even if he was concealed, there was still He Lu Lan. Unlike Lu Qingyu, He Lu Lan could not be thrown away easily. She had huge value. Once they lost her, they could not even use the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel. Thus, Ying Wuxie quickly gave up this thought. Then, enter an immortal aperture. Ying Wuxie entered Shinu's immortal aperture, and he was surprised to find out that in conjunction with his soul path methods, the luck on top of his head stopped shaking. He ordered He Lu Lan to enter Shinu's immortal aperture as well. Next, Tai Bai Yunsheng and Shinu entered the Blue Water Regional Wall, quickly vanishing from sight. Fang Yuan had just come out of Qingyu Blessed Land. Luck Path Investigative Killer Move, Qi Luck Sensation. He activated his immortal killer move. At once, he sensed several locations. Eastern Sea, Western Desert, Southern Border. Among which, Eastern Sea had the clearest sensation and highest number of people. Qi Luck Sensation had a huge investigative range, but the effect was not very outstanding. If not for Connect Luck, Fang Yuan could not pass regions in investigation. They are at the border of Blue Water Regional Wall. This ancient battle formation is actually so amazing. HMPH. Even if victory is hard to obtain, I will pursue you. Even if I cannot kill you, I will weaken you. As long as I prevent you from saving Spectral Soul's main body, I would be victorious. Strange, why did they stop? Suddenly, Fang Yuan's expression changed. He showed shock. In his senses, two people had suddenly vanished. Oh, he sensed it so quickly. Fang Yuan's heart sank. This way, he could not pursue them. But as long as your luck is connected, you will be threatened by my killer move. I have the initiative. I can use this killer move from time to time, and check your location. But you need to be wary of me at all times. You will have to pay a bigger price than me. This will cause a battle of attrition between us, but if you break the luck connection, isn't that just what I want? Forget it. I should get the good stuff inside the turbulent flow sea area first. Chapter 1154. Immortal Hua Dai. Since he could not locate them, Fang Yuan wisely chose to give up on pursuing them. Ever since reviving, this was the second time Fang Yuan was up against Shadow Sect. The first time, Ying Wuxie had no choice but to undergo transactions with Fang Yuan. In the end, Fang Yuan took great advantage of it. In the second contest, Fang Yuan only had a slight edge. Even though Fang Yuan's strength had grown immensely due to He Fan's true inheritance, in the end, he did not achieve his goals. He only killed one member of Shadow Sect. He slightly weakened Ying Wuxie and the rest. Fang Yuan was growing fast, but Ying Wuxie was also increasing in strength. And Fang Yuan's growth was uncertain and unstable. After all, benefits like He Fan's true inheritance were once in a 1,000-year encounters. They were not easy to get. Conversely, Ying Wuxie's growth in strength was very steady. Because he could go and obtain Shadow Sect's inheritances in all 5 regions, these originally belonged to him. They were reliable and predictable. Based on this point, it was wise of Fang Yuan to kill them preemptively. If he did not use this chance to act, the disparity between them would grow more obvious. Once Spectral Soul was successfully rescued, Fang Yuan's doomsday would arrive. Ying Wuxie's immediate retreat was shameless, but it was the wisest and most resolute choice. For Ying Wuxie, as long as he continued to gather Shadow Sect's remnant forces, he would grow rapidly in strength. Accumulating them, he eventually would grow to become quite powerful. In the Turbulent Sea area, even though both sides did not fight, they had competed against each other across a vast distance. Fang Yuan obtained a lot of information regarding Ying Wuxie and the rest. He even saw the ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel, as well as Ying Wuxie, He Lu Lan, and the others' situations. Meanwhile, Ying Wuxie identified Fang Yuan's investigative killer move. Even though he only resolved it temporarily, and did not solve the problem, his advancement was not halted. His plan could still continue smoothly. Fang Yuan and Ying Wuxie were bound to engage in a battle of life and death. But now was not the time. Ying Wuxie chose to retreat. One day, between Fang Yuan and Ying Wuxie, one would die. Their enmity was far from resolved. Fang Yuan turned around, going back to the turbulent flow sea area. Vast clouds and turbulent sea water, it was a chaotic sight. Fang Yuan was about to go in, when a female immortal suddenly came from the west, calling out, "Please wait." Fang Yuan turned around, only to see that this woman was dressed in a raiment. Her sleeves were fluttering. She wore light pink. Her eyes were clear and shiny. She was extremely beautiful. Immediately, Fang Yuan stopped moving, his eyebrows raised as he waited for the female immortal to arrive. "So it is Immortal Hua Dai. I wonder why you called out to me." Immortal Hua Dai smiled. Her tender pink lips parted to show her pearl-like teeth. I am ashamed, you know my name but I am unaware of your name. I am Chu Ying. Fang Yuan casually said a name, his current appearance was disguised as well. Chu Ying, it sounded like remove Shadow 1. Even though Fang Yuan's goal was not achieved this time, Fang Yuan was determined to eliminate Shadow Sect, with a firmer attitude now. Chu Ying, I saw that you were about to enter the turbulent Flow Sea area. I have a suggestion, if it works, it will benefit you too. Immortal Hua Dai said. Please speak. Fang Yuan smiled, having a warm attitude. In his mind, he was thinking, if he killed this Immortal Hua Dai, would the chances of success be high? She was a beautiful woman, but to Fang Yuan's heart, she was better off as part of his Dao mark accumulation. Fang Yuan knew a bit about Immortal Hua Dai's information. She was a transformation path GU immortal from Eastern Sea, she had rank 6 cultivation level and had passed 2 heavenly tribulations. In terms of battle strength, looking at her records, she was at the peak of rank 6. For Fang Yuan, that was not a problem. Transformation path. The important thing was this. Currently, Fang Yuan was a transformation path grandmaster, he had quite a few transformation path Dao marks, but there was nothing wrong with accumulating more. Immortal Hua Dai smiled too. She felt that even though Fang Yuan had an unimpressive appearance, he behaved gently and politely, he was not a frenzied demonic path GU immortal, he was likely to be a lone immortal like herself. If she knew what Fang Yuan was thinking, who knew how she would feel? Even though I cannot set up a battlefield killer move, my battle strength should be superior to hers. But Immortal Hua Dai has a close relationship with Miao Mingshen, how confident am I in killing her? Fang Yuan was considering the possibility. Miao Mingshen was a rank 7 expert in Eastern Sea, his status was similar to that of Qin Bai Sheng before awakening his memories. Most importantly, Miao Mingshen was a space path GU immortal who had a method to expand the size of immortal apertures. As a result, many Eastern Sea GU immortals, especially lone immortals, sought his help. After all, the space of an immortal aperture was limited, many GU immortals had to choose carefully when cultivating resources. Miao Mingshen could expand the immortal aperture, it could provide a lot of convenience and help to these GU immortals. And Miao Mingshen himself was an ambitious person, he was very good at building relationships, he had a lot of charisma. Thus, around him, there were a group of GU immortals with common interests. This group had 4 people, with Miao Mingshen as the core, and Immortal Hua Dai, Feng Zhang, and Gui Qi as his followers. Among them, Immortal Hua Dai and Feng Zhang had rank 6 cultivation level, Gui Qi and Miao Mingshen were rank 7, but the latter had the greatest battle strength. If Fang Yuan killed Immortal Hua Dai, he would become enemies with the other 3. Miao Mingshen had a huge network and knew many people, a lot of Eastern Sea GU immortals wanted to be friendly with him. Even super forces refused to offend him. After all, they might need his help one day. If Miao Mingshen and Fang Yuan were enemies, he would fully use his network and call upon lots of Eastern Sea GU immortals to push aside Fang Yuan. But so what? Fang Yuan had familiar face, he could freely change his identity, so what if it was Miao Mingshen? As long as it was not a rank 8 GU immortal. However, if I kill Immortal Hua Dai, familiar face cannot defend me from wisdom path deductions, my identity might get exposed. Familiar face was not all powerful. In the past, when thieving heaven demon Venerable used this method to deceive 2 rank 8 GU immortals, he had ensured that they did not have investigative methods against it. Even though this was an amazing story, it made others alert, thieving heaven demon Venerable could not replicate this glorious event in the future. Not long ago, Fang Yuan and Ying Wuxie had met. Ying Wuxie used luck inspection immortal GU to observe Fang Yuan's luck and discern his identity, before retreating immediately. Just rank 6 luck inspection immortal GU could make familiar face ineffective. It seemed peculiar, but it was not. The world was balanced, all living beings had their food and natural predators. The same went for Immortal GU, the essence of Immortal killer moves was the use of a combination of GU worms, it could not escape this principle. This was why, there was no strongest GU worm, only strongest GU immortal. But I am a Wisdom Path Grandmaster, as long as I elevate my Wisdom Path methods and conceal my true identity, when I use familiar face to conceal myself, who would be able to find my true identity? Especially with his sovereign immortal body, he could travel through regional walls easily, he could even completely alter his aura and become a local. He was unlike He Lu Lan and the rest, they had Northern Plains aura, it was still fine in Eastern Sea. But when they got to Southern Border, Western Desert, or Central Continent, they would face strong ostracism from the locals. However, I remember that this Miao Mingshen had a method to find that immemorial desolate beast blue dragon whale. He had once rallied more than 10 Eastern Sea lone immortals to find it. Should I build a relationship with him, so that I can use this relationship to take a share of the profits from entering the blue dragon whale as well? Taking this into consideration, the blue dragon whale was naturally more important than merely Immortal Wadai. Fang Yuan dispelled the thought of killing her. There was another advantage in becoming friendly with Miao Mingshen. Eastern Sea had the most cultivation resources among the 5 regions. Eastern Sea GU immortals often held meetups to exchange resources between each other. These resources were very precious, they had great value, lifespan GU were used for transactions. In comparison, Treasure Yellow Heaven was an open market, it was not a private auction location. Miao Mingshen was a common guest in these private auctions. With his approval, Fang Yuan would be able to enter these events as well. Immortal Wadai did not know that she had just barely escaped death. Because of her relationship with Miao Mingshen, she narrowly avoided a terrible fate. She smiled lightly as she said, "Chu Ying, since you know about me, you must know about Lord Miao Mingshen as well. Lord Miao Mingshen has observed the turbulent flow sea area for years. He wants to find a tributary of the River of Time among these chaotic currents. If you have the opportunity to find the tributary of the River of Time, I hope that you can locate it and inform us. We will definitely thank you for it." As for why a space path GU immortal like Miao Mingshen was searching for a tributary of the River of Time, Immortal Wadai was not going to explain it. "So that's it," Fang Yuan agreed. "I have long since heard of Lord Miao Mingshen. I would not ask for a great reward, I would simply like to be on good terms with both of you." Fang Yuan was so tactful, Immortal Wadai's smile became even wider. Fang Yuan was not the first person she had talked to. In fact, Immortal Wadai, Gui Qi, and Feng Zhong would guard the turbulent flow sea area in turns at regular intervals. When they see any GU immortals approaching the turbulent flow sea area, they would talk to them and ask for their help. Some rejected, but most people would agree. The reason was naturally Miao Mingshen's method to expand immortal apertures. Thus, Fairy Wadai was not surprised that Fang Yuan agreed. "Then I will wish you good luck, friend." Immortal Wadai turned around and was about to leave. She did not think highly of Chu Ying, because she had never heard of this person before. Of course, Eastern Sea had no lack of hidden cultivators. But Immortal Wadai had many connections. Chu Ying was someone who was completely unknown, and he only had rank 6 cultivation level. How strong could he be? Lord Miao Mingshen is searching for the tributary of the River of Time. It does not require cultivation level, but luck instead. Maybe this Chu Ying might be able to find it. Oh, I have such thoughts each time. But more than 10 years have passed, we have not even seen a trace of that tributary. Immortal Wadai sighed internally, saying goodbye to Fang Yuan. However, a while after leaving, Immortal Wadai used an information path Mortal GU and transmitted to him. "I almost forgot to tell you. A blood path demonic immortal, Ding Qi, has recently come to the turbulent flow sea area. This person's younger brother, Ding Yan, had once held the clues to an information path inheritance. He was attacked by Lu Qingyu, Zhou Li, and Tang Song. Ding Yan is dead. Ding Qi wants revenge, because he heard that Lu Qingyu had come to the turbulent flow sea area. As if to obtain the information path inheritance, he rushed here. Blood path demonic immortals are ruthless and crazy. They are unlike us, their minds are completely insane. When they see a GU immortal, they would first think about whether they should kill that person to increase their own strength. If you encounter him, you should be careful." Fang Yuan kept the information path Mortal GU, rubbing his nose. Immortal Wadai gave him some friendly advice. She was a kind person. But she did not know that the person she was talking to was a blood path demonic overlord, a person bearing great sins. He had once casually slaughtered countless lives in Central Continent. Chapter 1155, Snatching Oyster. The conversation with Immortal Wadai was only a short intermission. Fang Yuan finally went into the turbulent flow sea area. The sea water moved randomly, like intertwined ropes, or completely messy balls of string, filling Fang Yuan's vision. Strength path giant hand. Seeing nobody around, Fang Yuan used his immortal killer move. The giant hand smashed more than 10 currents, causing the sea water to become chaotic. Fang Yuan charged towards a certain direction. This was at the fringe of the turbulent flow sea area. He could forcefully make his way in. But a moment later, a huge current of light yellow water blocked Fang Yuan's path. "This is yellow spring water." Fang Yuan stopped his steps. This current was huge. Strength path giant hand could not smash it. In fact, he might even get injured. Yellow spring water came from the yellow spring sea area. That was the territory of Zombie Alliance's headquarters. As the largest zombie farming area in the 5 regions, the Yellow Spring Sea area was filled with zombie corpses. At the bottom of the sea, there was decomposed coral, and between them, there were strands of seaweed drifting with the flowing water. Yellow spring water contained Dao marks. It was a type of GU refinement material. Fang Yuan activated his defensive method, entering it. This yellow spring water current flowed in one direction, but it was not the one Fang Yuan wanted. He could only charge through this current, using his immortal GU and consuming immortal essence. A while later, he broke through the yellow spring water current, arriving at another current. This water was pale white. After entering it, Fang Yuan felt like he was moving inside clouds. Illusory scenes were displayed before him. Thousand Illusion Water, it came from Eastern Sea's Thousand Illusion Sea area. Fang Yuan used wisdom path methods, easily blocking the interference of these illusions. After spending some effort, he got into the third current. Magma current. This current was not from Eastern Sea, it came from Western Desert's largest pit, Blazing Glory Pit. It was extremely deep and was linked to the underground. Every 100 years, magma would burst out from the earth veins. The hot magma would fill the entire pit, even oozing out and changing the terrain of the surrounding area. Magma current, it came from a deep part of the magma. It was very hot. Once Fang Yuan entered it, he would need a defensive immortal killer move. Ordinary rank 6 GU immortals without an immortal level defensive method could only avoid this. His immortal essence expenditure was multiple times that of the 2 earlier currents. Thankfully, this magma current was not big. Fang Yuan got through in a few dozen breaths of time. This time, he did not encounter another current. He went into an empty space. Other than Fang Yuan, there was nothing. Looking back, the magma current was still flowing behind him. On his front left side, there was deep darkness. Waves were crashing inside, resembling thousands of vengeful souls. This black soul water came from the Black Soul Sea area. It contained soul path and dark path Dao marks. On his right, there was a third current. It was golden and shiny, like countless gold fragments mixed together, moving forward together in a dazzling manner. Fang Yuan saw this and was surprised. If I am not wrong, this is a gold fragment current. Rumors say that Immemorial Yellow Heaven has a lot of metallic heavenly rivers. After Immemorial Yellow Heaven broke, most of the metallic heavenly rivers were destroyed. This gold fragment current is likely from a certain Immemorial Yellow Heaven fragment world. Because of the nature of the turbulent flow sea area, by gathering all the different currents in the world, I am able to witness it. Magma current, black soul current, and gold fragment current. These 3 currents contested against each other. They reached a mystical balance. A completely empty space was created between them. This was where Fang Yuan was at now. As if he was in the eye of the cyclone, he could not stay here for long, but it gave him precious time to rest. Fang Yuan did not rest. His strength had grown drastically. He had a lot of immortal essence. He had not reached his limit yet. After finding his direction, he shot out into the gold fragment current at lightning speed. He faced a lot of obstructions, more than 10 times of the magma current, but his immortal essence expenditure had decreased instead. The magma current was too hot. Fang Yuan crossed the entire gold fragment current. During this process, he collected up to 500 kilograms of gold fragments. On Earth, this would be a huge amount of wealth. But in this world, it was merely a common GU material. Other than gold fragments, the gold fragment current also had a large number of GU worms. They were mostly metal path. There was golden dragon GU. It looked like an earthworm, but it had claws and a head. It resembled a miniature dragon. There was also golden aurora GU. It could allow a GU master to fly. And a rare mortal GU that could make all mortal GU masters go crazy. Polished gold GU, it was a one-time consumable GU that could increase a GU master's aptitude. For Fang Yuan, this polished gold GU had little use. He casually collected some. After getting out of the gold fragment current, Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture gained a new small gold fragment river. Fang Yuan placed this river in mini yellow heaven. It was just to add to the scenery. With this tiny gold fragment river, it could not give him any benefits. GU masters might treat it like a treasure. For Fang Yuan and other GU immortals, it was worthless. Fang Yuan got through many currents, gradually getting towards the center of the turbulent flow sea area from the fringe. A moment later, a huge current blocked Fang Yuan's path. The huge current was deep blue. Every drop of water flickered with electricity. It caused the entire current to be eye-catching and bright. Fang Yuan let out a breath. He knew that this was a lightning water current. When lightning accumulates to a degree, it would become liquid. The destructive force would convert in a water of vitality that could draw out potential. Lightning Path GU Immortals often built lightning pools, storing this lightning water inside. Lightning Path GU Immortals would use these lightning pools to nurture large numbers of Lightning Path Mortal GU. The significance of a lightning pool to Lightning Path GU Immortals was like 5 Light Mountain to Light Path GU Immortals. Fang Yuan had already reached the center of the turbulent flow sea area. With his strength, he could not go into currents rashly anymore. The strength of the currents had gotten stronger. If Fang Yuan went in, he would be swept away. In this situation, to get to his destination, it depended on luck. With good luck, a random current would bring him to his destination. Fang Yuan would be able to travel smoothly. If he was unlucky, even after dozens of currents, he might still be going in circles. This was the special characteristic of the turbulent flow sea area. Fang Yuan entered the lightning water current. This current was huge. It was as if Fang Yuan was a small rabbit which had entered a large river. Thankfully, the lightning water was very calm. Only the ripples at the top would create lightning, with destructive force that would destroy whatever touched it. Fang Yuan only had to sink to the bottom of the lightning water. The immortal essence expenditure was low, it was calm and smooth. He traveled along with this current. A while later, Fang Yuan got to the end of the lightning water current. At the end, there was another current with the same size as the lightning water current. Fang Yuan entered it as the water carried him along. He was quite lucky. Even though there were some hurdles, in the end, he still moved closer to his target destination. A day and a night later, Fang Yuan got to an empty space with no currents. This was the 12th one he had seen during this trip. This space has just formed, the surroundings currents won't change for now, I should rest first. Fang Yuan wanted to rest here. Because now, even he felt a little tired. The expenditure of immortal essence was not small. But after resting for a while, there was some commotion from the current above his head. Soon, a giant oyster came out of the current. This oyster was the size of 4 elephants, it gave off the aura of an ancient desolate beast, the surface was entirely white gold. After seeing Fang Yuan, this oyster moved in a stunned manner. Soon after, a voice came from the oyster, "Eh. There's someone here, you are just a rank 6 GU immortal, how can you reach here?" Fang Yuan did not speak. The oyster's shell opened, as its pinkish flesh was exposed. This flesh was like a bed, with 3 people lying on it. 2 mortals female, considerably beautiful, were lying on a male GU immortal's body with their clothing undone. This male GU immortal had a young man appearance, he was thin and had a sharp gaze, he looked at Fang Yuan with an overbearing gaze, he analyzed as he said with curiosity, strange, you really have rank 6 cultivation level, quickly tell me your name." Fang Yuan was silent, his gaze went from the male GU immortal to the oyster. The male GU immortal was angry. "Hey, I am talking to you, are you deaf or mute?" Fang Yuan asked instead. "This is the rumored precious beast, hidden room oyster." The male GU immortal immediately felt praised, he laughed. "You have quite some knowledge, I had asked for this from my grandpa after much work. My grandfather is the famous enslavement path GU immortal in Eastern Sea, Ren Shuping." Fang Yuan nodded, saying plainly, "I know about Ren Shuping, he is an expert at the peak of rank 7, not long ago, he found his blood-related grandson, and spent a lot of effort to get him to ascend to immortal, that is you, right?" "Ha ha ha," the male GU immortal laughed. That's right, you are not bad, your foresight is good. Hand over the hidden room oyster, and I will spare your life." Fang Yuan said plainly. "What?" The male GU immortal thought he was hearing things. His expression froze, he laughed out of pure anger, he pointed at Fang Yuan, Good. I praised you wrongly, you have foresight but you are blind, you offended the wrong person. You are truly courting death. Then I shall, The male GU immortal was still talking, when he suddenly gasped. Fang Yuan had already attacked. The strength path giant hand grabbed the hidden room oyster fiercely. The male GU immortal had a fearful expression, because he realized that the hidden room oyster was currently being squeezed by the giant hand, the 2 shells were making cracking noises under the pressure. "Misunderstanding, it is a misunderstanding." He screamed. "I am Ren Shuping's grandson, who are you, we might be friends." "Who is friends with you? I can let you go, just hand over the GU worm that controls the hidden room oyster." Fang Yuan sneered. "Otherwise, you will die here. You are a demonic path GU immortal. You cannot do this, my grandfather will not let you off, think about it clearly." "It's just Ren Shuping, so what?" Fang Yuan smiled, aura surged out of his body, going from rank 6 to the peak of rank 7. The young GU Immortal had an ashen expression, the two mortal female beauties were completely shocked, they were shrinking away in a corner, shivering. Chapter 1156. Immortal GU Perceivable Tao. A moment later, Fang Yuan controlled the hidden room oyster, becoming its new master. Pat pat pat, he patted the young GU Immortal's face, wise choice, lad. The young GU Immortal had a stiff expression, he did not dare to move, but his eyes were burning with embarrassment and hatred. Fang Yuan ignored it. Next, he jumped up into the hidden room oyster, sitting in the young GU Immortal's former spot as he left. Before leaving, he even said, "My name is Chu Ying, I took your hidden room oyster, remember to tell your grandfather." Looking at the hidden room oyster which had closed its shell and vanished into the currents, the young GU Immortal said with a forceful tone, "Good, Chu Ying. Don't worry, I have already transmitted your appearance to my grandfather." "Young master, what do we do now?" The two beauties were crying, they were tugging the young GU Immortal's sleeves. The young GU Immortal's expression froze, the surrounding space was shrinking, the currents were about to form, his expression sank. With his strength, he could not enter this place, he got here thanks to the hidden room oyster. "Don't worry, even though the hidden room oyster is lost, I have my grandfather's traveling son GU, I can return to the doting mother GU, which is with my grandfather." The young GU Immortal gritted his teeth. "That's great, we are saved." The two girls were overjoyed. Boom boom. With two sounds, the two beautiful girls looked with shocked gazes, one looked at the bloody hole in her chest while the other looked at the young GU Immortal. "Young master, you." The young GU Immortal had a grim expression, "Both of you witnessed everything, HMPH." Immediately after, he showed a look of pity. He stretched out an arm, touching the two beauties' faces. "It is a pity, they are quite beautiful, it is all Chu Ying's fault." As he said that, he threw these two corpses into the current. Without the defensive methods of a GU Immortal, the mortal corpses were torn to shreds in the currents instantly. Seeing that this space was about to collapse, the young GU Immortal gritted his teeth, using Traveling Sun Immortal GU. This turbulent flow sea area had very chaotic Tao marks, the same applied to Space Path. GU Immortals could not use Space Path Immortal GU easily, the safest way was to travel normally. But the young GU Immortal was not using a Space Path Immortal GU now, but Emotion Path instead. Emotion Path was a path originating from Wisdom Path. Wisdom Path had three elements: thoughts, wills, emotions. Traveling Sun GU and Doting Mother GU were a set of famous Immortal GU in Emotion Path. When the turbulent flow sea area was formed, Emotion Path had not been created yet, thus, at this moment, the young GU Immortal could use Traveling Sun GU without any danger. The young GU Immortal allowed the power of Traveling Sun GU to send him away. He seemed to have entered a long river, he felt groggy and dazed. A few minutes later, he regained his senses, realizing that he was inside Ren Shuping's blessed land. "Grandfather, the young GU Immortal showed fear and unrest. HMPH, while I was placing my immortal aperture to absorb heaven and earth chi and stabilize my blessed land, you sneaked out to have fun. If I knew this, I would not have given you the hidden room oyster for protection." Ren Shuping chided. "Grandfather, the hidden room oyster was taken away." The young GU Immortal said in a distressed tone. "I met a demon, he stole my hidden room oyster and killed my two servants." "Oh," Ren Shuping's eyebrows rose. "Tell me the details." The young GU Immortal added lots of inflammatory details as he explained. "Chu Ying," Ren Shuping muttered, frowning. He had never heard of this name before. The two mortal girls were nothing, but a rank 7 GU Immortal approached and took away the hidden room oyster. This was the act of a demonic scoundrel. But why did he leave his name behind? Was he not Chu Ying but someone else? Trying to frame him? What ulterior motives did he have? But regardless, Ren Shuping memorized the name of Chu Ying. He had a cold expression as he lectured his grandson. "Now, do you know about the cruelty of the GU Immortal world? Up until now, you have been around me, all you saw were immortals I was on good terms with, they had a warm attitude towards you, or even flattered you because of me. Now, you have to learn a lesson, I will punish you to 10 years of secluded cultivation. For the next 10 years, you have to stay in my immortal aperture and will not leave." "What?" The young GU Immortal was shocked. Scram! Ren Shuping billowed his sleeve, the young GU Immortal's vision changed, he was inside a cave instantly. "A jade cannot become refined without polishing, grandson, I cannot let you mess around anymore. Otherwise, even with my protection, there are many people in Eastern Sea who would not give me face." As for this Chu Ying, I will deal with him one day. Thinking of this, Ren Shuping's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. Since I am trying to befriend Miao Mingshen, I might as well offend Ren Shuping. Speaking of which, this hidden room oyster is quite useful, it is easy to use for transport. As long as the current isn't too strong, I can rest inside and regain my strength. Fang Yuan sat inside the hidden room oyster as it flowed along with the currents. Just like this, he got closer to his destination. But in the turbulent flow sea area, distance did not relate to time from destination. After taking the hidden room oyster, Fang Yuan's luck started to fall, he encountered several bad currents and went in bad directions. He had to make many detours. After a long trip, a day later, he finally reached the central area of the turbulent flow sea area. The currents here were massive, Fang Yuan entered them like an ant jumping into a river. Ordinary currents would change directions or locations once in a while. But the central area of the turbulent flow sea area was too big, because of its size, it was hard to shift, even though it changed at every moment, the extent was small, it was actually quite stable. And in these currents, there were many bubbles. There were big and small bubbles, from the size of a human head to a mountain. These bubbles were formed during the huge battle, it was unknown which great expert's immortal killer move did it. In the bubbles, there were carcasses and inheritances. Most bubbles contained seawater and small-sized islands. Found it, it's this. Fang Yuan looked for his target, he approached it with difficulty before entering it. The bubble's surface was torn open, but it soon was restored, only some water went in, it was not a problem. Fang Yuan's vision changed. There was a green sea with a calm surface. The sky was pure white, like an egg in color. It was simply another world. At the center of the sea, there was an island, there was wild grass on the island, and in the grass, there were many tall stone pillars. Some people said that the worlds inside the bubbles were actually portions of the turbulent flow sea area originally, but after the battle, space was torn into pieces. Some also said that these were the fragment worlds of the great expert's immortal aperture, because of a unique immortal killer move, these bubbles were formed. Fang Yuan did not care about the reason why there were bubbles. He came to the stone pillar and took out Flying Sword Immortal GU. Seemingly having sensed the information path insignia on Flying Sword Immortal GU, these stone pillars started to shine in red light, soon after, they started to move slowly. When they slowed down, space of around a vat's size opened, as a skeleton fell out. Fang Yuan carefully inspected it. This skeleton was full of bone path Dao marks, it was a quasi-rank 8 immortal material. The skeleton's right hand was holding a dark green lump. Fang Yuan took out this dark green lump, after inspecting it, he burst it and several sleeping GU worms were revealed. 2 immortal GU, and 5 mortal GU. Unfortunately, most of them were dead, only a corpse was left. When the wind blew, they turned to ash. Countless years had passed, the GU worm preservation method was not very good, it was no wonder that time prevailed. Eventually, only one rank 6 immortal GU was left. Fang Yuan quickly saved it, as it barely hung on to life. What GU worm is this? Fang Yuan was perplexed, he did not recognize it. Looking at the skeleton, there was nothing left. This is that so-called information path inheritance. Fang Yuan sighed. An ordinary GU immortal would be joyous. But Fang Yuan, who had just obtained He Fan's true inheritance, felt quite unsatisfied. Inspecting the corpse, Fang Yuan discovered that in the skull of this skeleton, there were many thoughts sealed. The thoughts were fragmented, but Fang Yuan was a wisdom path grandmaster, he could barely excavate some details from them. The name of the GU immortal who left behind this inheritance could not be found. Fang Yuan only knew that he had barely survived that intense battle with his last breath, he managed to enter this bubble and set up his inheritance. It was indeed an information path inheritance, but most of the information was lost. But Fang Yuan was not leaving empty-handed. He knew the name of the immortal GU he saved, Perceivable Dao. Perceivable Dao Immortal GU was an information path investigative immortal GU. It had a very niche effect, it could help the GU immortal see clearly what types of Dao marks the target had and their quantity as well. As for the origin of this skeleton, it was not the inheritance's creator, but an enemy killed by the information path GU immortal. In the thoughts, the information path GU immortal who left this inheritance said that this skeleton could be used as immortal material directly. Because the enemy's Dao marks were all left inside this skeleton. This made Fang Yuan feel some surprise. Because after a GU immortal dies, their Dao marks usually go back to the immortal aperture. Unless it was an immortal zombie, without a normal immortal aperture, their Dao marks would remain in the body. This information path GU Immortal has amazing methods. He could gather all of the GU Immortal's Dao marks into their skeleton and preserve them. Unfortunately, the inheritance's information is too lacking, and it cannot be restored. Fang Yuan felt it was a great pity. He was hoping that this information path inheritance could allow him to obtain a method to break his alliance agreements. Unfortunately, most things in the world do not proceed as one hopes. What he obtained was only perceivable Dao Immortal GU. Keeping the Immortal GU in his immortal aperture, Fang Yuan prepared to leave. Murderer, where are you going? At this moment, a blood-red figure charged into this huge bubble. His bloodshot eyes were staring at Fang Yuan fiercely. Chapter 1157, Exterminate. The other party had arrived imposingly, staring at Fang Yuan fixedly. He had injuries on his body, his hair was messy and he looked to be in a sorry state. One thought flashed in Fang Yuan's mind, Ding Qi. Some days ago, Immortal Hua Dai had told Fang Yuan about the blood path demonic path immortal, Ding Qi, who had come to the turbulent flow sea area. His brother, Ding Yan, was the blood path demonic immortal that had died at Lu Qingyu's hands. Now, Fang Yuan saw this person, he naturally had a guess towards his identity. Next, another group of GU immortals appeared as they charged into the bubble. The two at the front were familiar to Fang Yuan. One was Tang Song, the other was Zhou Li. Tang Song shouted, Ding Qi, where are you trying to go? In exactly 1 year, it will be the anniversary of your death. It is a pity, your brother is dead, nobody is going to send you offerings, ha ha ha. Ding Qi seemingly did not hear anything, he stared at Fang Yuan, gritting his teeth, it's you. You just obtained the information path inheritance, my brother found that clue after so much trouble, but it is with you. You are also his murderer. What? The GU immortals pursuing him heard this and turned to stare at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan smiled, interesting. How did you know I took the inheritance? Ding Qi smiled coldly, because I have blood trace immortal GU. Saying this, he used his immortal GU. Soon, blood-colored shadows appeared in the island. The shadows formed a series of movements. It was Fang Yuan who had entered the bubble and took away the information path inheritance. Zhou Li and Tang Song screamed angrily, he stole the inheritance. Who are you? Hand over the inheritance. Fang Yuan's smile bloomed, he ignored the immortals, he only looked at Ding Qi with curiosity. Blood trace immortal GU, this is the first time I have heard of this. This is a blood path immortal GU that I created together with my brother. Other than this, we also created the immortal GU blood oath. Mentioning his brother, Ding Qi was extremely angry and upset. Zhou Li, Tang Song, and the other immortals were furious too. As it turned out, Lu Qingyu gathered a bunch of people to come to the turbulent flow sea area, it caused Ding Qi to appear. Information got out, Zhou Li and Tang Song also gathered a group of GU immortals to come here. Initially, they were suspicious that Lu Qingyu had gotten the information path inheritance clue. They had spent so much effort in getting here, but the immortals met Ding Qi. Ding Qi had already gotten here long ago, using blood trace immortal GU to make some arrangements. Both sides fought, but Ding Qi was alone, even though he was a blood path demonic immortal, he could not rival so many enemies, he had to escape while fighting. During which, Fang Yuan came in and obtained the inheritance. Ding Qi felt something and rushed over without caring about anything else, meeting Fang Yuan. This is blood trace immortal GU. Very interesting indeed. Fang Yuan looked at Ding Qi with a look of appreciation, sighing, geniuses are indeed everywhere, they have their own unique talents. Speaking of blood path, the most famous person was Blood Sea Ancestor. He was a great demon with 7 Blood Sea true inheritances, everyone knew about them, he had left a deep mark in history. But at present, if blood path experts were listed down, Ding Qi and Ding Yan would definitely have reputable rankings. These brothers had deeply researched, they created Blood Oath and Blood Trace, these 2 blood path immortal GU. Most importantly, they actually managed to refine them, in terms of blood path, they were truly talented, it was rare. What are you sighing about? Hand over the inheritance. That's right, the inheritance is mine, you are an outsider, you actually snatched it from us. Zhou Li and Tang Song screamed. They had worked so hard and put in so much effort, in the end, an outsider whose name was not even known had taken their rightful gains. Zhou Li and Tang Song had already regarded this inheritance as their own. Fang Yuan was naturally taking away their food, how could they stand it? Zhou Li and Tang Song gave up on their original target, Ding Qi, they turned towards Fang Yuan. But Ding Qi was even quicker, he directly attacked Fang Yuan, murderer, hand over your life. Fang Yuan smiled lightly, You want my life, but I'm not going to play with you. The inheritance is mine already anyway. Saying so, he charged out of the bubble, going into the currents. Chase. We will catch him, dead or alive. Zhou Li and Tang Song shouted angrily. They refused to give up, especially Fang Yuan's final words. It truly sent their anger over the edge. A group of GU Immortals were chasing in the chaotic currents. In this special environment, GU Immortals could only move along with the currents. During the process, countless attacks aimed at Fang Yuan were unleashed. Fang Yuan used his Immortal GU to defend as he accelerated. Sword Escape Immortal GU was not to be underestimated. Soon, a group of GU Immortals fell behind, they were too far apart. This person's movement is so familiar. Zhou Li was perplexed. Tang Song's eyes opened wide, he wanted to get back his inheritance, he did not think in that aspect at all. Between the two sides, there was also the blood path demonic Immortal Ding Qi. His eyes were blood red, he was filled with killing intent. Die, die. My brother died, and you took advantage of it. It was such a regretful death. Death, you deserve death, I will tear you into pieces. Intense rage burned through his rationality, he was in a frenzied state. Fang Yuan suddenly turned, dodging a huge waves of attacks. The pursuers were stifled. Fang Yuan's movements were too slippery, even if some killer moves could chase after the enemy, he destroyed them personally. The GU Immortals chased him for so long, but there was no result, they even wasted a lot of immortal essence. Here was not like other places, the environment was quite unique. A bubble appeared before them, Fang Yuan's thoughts shifted, directly entering it. He went in. Quick, quick, encircle it. Something is wrong, why did he enter a bubble instead of escaping? The Immortals surrounded this bubble, but they did not enter, they were filled with suspicion. A blood-red figure shot into the bubble like an arrow. It was the blood path demonic Immortal Ding Qi, he was more resolute than these GU Immortals. The Immortals stayed outside the bubble, but they saw no disturbance. They started to get restless, they could not stand it anymore. Tang Song went in first, followed by Zhou Li, and the rest, all of the GU Immortals went into the bubble. Strange, where is this? A city. The GU Immortals who came in found that they had appeared amidst some houses for some reason. These houses were designed meticulously, but they had broken walls, as if an earthquake had occurred here. Furthermore, this place was full of cobwebs and dust, it looked like a city that had been abandoned for many years. Strange, strange, there are lots of pans and bowls here, it seems like many people had lived here before. On such a large scale, they cannot be GU Immortals. But mortals actually lived here. Even before the turbulent flow sea area formed, I have never heard of many mortals living here. The GU Immortals gathered as they discussed. Also, where is that GU Immortal who ran away? Ding Qi is missing too. No, Ding Qi is there, facing Lord Tang Song. The GU Immortal who took the inheritance is really missing, he seems to be hiding inside here. Find him and force him to hand over the inheritance. The Immortals were about to get to work, when they suddenly heard Fang Yuan's voice from the sky. It was loud and grand. You are all here, good, everyone, enjoy this. It is your final moment before death. As he said this, the Immortals felt the sky turning dark. They raised their heads and at the next moment, the Immortals showed extremely shocked expressions. Only to see that a huge hand, enormously big, covering the entire sky, pressed down slowly. The aura was too imposing, it was like the sky was collapsing, everyone felt a strong feeling of weakness and helplessness. Impossible, this is an illusion, if he has such strength, how could he be running away from us? Zhou Li shouted. The Immortals jolted, their morale rose, they felt that Zhou Li was right. All of the Immortals attacked. Boom, with a loud sound, the giant hand pressed down, countless houses collapsed, several GU Immortals died at once, turning into meat paste. How can this be? Zhou Li climbed up from the pit with much difficulty, he opened his eyes and looked around in disbelief. The entire city was gone, it was a pathetic sight full of ruins. The GU Immortals who survived stood up in the rubble, they were all shocked and fearful. In a contest of strength, they had so many GU Immortals, but they actually lost. Shadow Sect's trap is truly useful. Hee. Fang Yuan thought as he activated Strength Path Giant Hand again. Thus, in the Immortals' eyes, the sky turned dark again, the giant hand crashed down slowly while covering the entire sky. It's coming again. Hold on, we have to endure it. At the moment of life and death, forget about the rest, take out your trump cards and survive this trial. The Immortals shouted, they were fearful and uneasy, their attitude was clearly different from before. Boom! The giant hand caused the entire ground to lower by several meters. This time, only 3 people stood up. Zhou Li, Tang Song, and the blood-path demonic immortal Ding Qi. Giant hand was used for the 3rd time. The 3 immortals had a look of despair. I will not let you have an easy time even if I die. Ding Qi self-detonated. Zhou Li and Tang Song resisted but to no avail. Eventually, they died at Fang Yuan's hands. Secluded domain of heaven and earth. City well, it truly lives up to its reputation. Fang Yuan praised as he sighed. Right now, there was a well in front of him. The well was squarish on the outside, but it was circular on the surface inside. Fang Yuan stood on the edge of the well. He looked down, seeing a miniature town at the bottom of the well. Right now, it had been completely decimated from his 3 uses of giant hand. There were some bloody patches in the rubble. It was the meat paste of GU immortals who were killed. City well first appeared in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. Or more accurately, less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, Chapter 4, Section 23 clearly described it. Chapter 1158, City Well. Legend has it, Ren Zhu's 4th child, boundless forest Samsara, fell from the tree. She did not follow after Ren Zhu, instead, she was trapped inside ordinary abyss. One day, when she was sleeping, she met a miniman. The miniman was crying. Boundless forest Samsara asked him why. The miniman spoke while crying. I am the tallest in my tribe, and I was brave, arrogant and proud because of this. Today, I intended to climb a mountain, but to think that this mountain was really a person. There are actually such giant people like you in the world. This is the first time I've seen someone like you, so I burst into tears. Since then, Boundless Forest Samsara and the Miniman became good friends. They were inseparable. Miniman, oh Miniman, where is your father? Do you not have siblings? Why have I never seen your family? One day, Boundless Forest Samsara asked the Miniman. The Miniman directed Boundless Forest Samsara to a well, saying, look at this well, my former home is inside. Boundless Forest Samsara sprawled in front of the well, extending her head to look inside. Next, she shouted, ah, there are so many Minimen. She saw that there were countless Minimen inside the well. They were living together. They built many houses. They lived among each other. There were markets, flowers. It was a harmonious scene. They were very happy. The Miniman in the well also shouted, why did the sky become so dark? It's nighttime already. There was thunder but no rain. I don't see lightning either. The Minimen were in panic. They discussed as the entire city went into commotion. Your family is here. Why did you go outside the well? You don't want to live with them? Boundless Forest Samsara asked. The Miniman shook his head. They were the ones who exiled me. They think I am a monster. Oh, why is that? Boundless Forest Samsara was curious. The Miniman answered with sadness. I told them that the world we were living in was just a well. The outside world is very big. But they did not believe me. They told me to stop spouting nonsense. I also told them that the mountain at the fringe of our city is a very small mound. But they refused to believe me. They think that it is the tallest mountain in the world. They told me to stop spreading lies. Which mountain is it? Boundless Forest Samsara asked. That's Minuscule Mountain. The Miniman pointed. Boundless Forest Samsara started to giggle. You call that a mountain? It can fit in my palm. Suddenly, Boundless Forest Samsara clapped. Then let me tell them the truth. The Miniman shook his head. It is useless. Boundless Forest Samsara did not believe him. She faced the well as she shouted. The Miniman inside started to panic even more. They felt that today was too strange. Not only did the sky turn dark, there was thunder rumbling, and it was getting louder and more frequent. Heaven is raging. I want to repent. I want to confess. No, it is a monster. A monster ate heaven. It is burping now. Save me. This world is getting destroyed. Some Minimen knelt on the ground and begged. Some had despair on their faces, while others were running around crazily. Boundless Forest Samsara's breathing became a tornado inside the well. Boundless Forest Samsara's saliva became a huge rainstorm when it went into the well. Boundless Forest Samsara's words were like rumbling thunder in the Minimen's ears. Their eardrums almost burst from it. Boundless Forest Samsara eventually gave up. She sprawled outside the well, exhausted. She said weakly, why are these Minimen so stupid? Can't they be like you, to get out of the well and see the world? The Miniman shook his head as he sighed. They think that they are big enough. They think the sky is round. They think the mountain is only that tall. They think life is just like this. Then why did you climb out? Boundless Forest Samsara opened her eyes wide as she asked with curiosity. The Miniman smiled bitterly. Because I realized how small and insignificant I was, therefore, I got out to see how big the world is. Fang Yuan walked in a circle around City Well, his eyes were flickering brightly. This was the third secluded domain of heaven and earth he had encountered. The first two were Danghun Mountain and Luokou Valley. In order to harm Fang Yuan, Ying Wuxie had set up a trap, it was by using City Well. But Fang Yuan took him by surprise, he obtained precious information from Lu Qingyu, and in turn, made use of City Well to kill a bunch of Eastern CGU immortals instead. Like what was recorded in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, boundless forest Samsara's breathing became a tornado, and her saliva became rain. Fang Yuan was outside the well, when he used his immortal killer move, the power was amplified by tens or hundreds of times when it entered the well. But Fang Yuan had to pay a price. His immortal essence expenditure was also tens or hundreds of times as high. Even though Fang Yuan only used 3 giant hands, the expenditure was around the same as 100 uses of it. If an uninformed person entered the bottom of City Well, they would be trapped. But once they realize their situation and know this is City Well, they would be able to escape. Like what less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than said, once the Miniman realized his own insignificance, and wanted to see the world outside, he managed to climb out of City Well. One could say, leaving City Well was both difficult and easy. Precisely so, Ying Wuxie did not use City Well to target Fang Yuan to a great extent. Firstly, he could not control his strength. What if he killed Fang Yuan? How could he find the immortal material to refine sovereign immortal fetus GU again? Secondly, Fang Yuan might immediately recognize the truth and escape with the upper extreme heavenly eagle. By then, Ying Wuxie would not stand a chance. The bigger reason was the second one. Because he was uncertain, Ying Wuxie made this City Well a trap to stall Fang Yuan, instead of using it to kill him. Fang Yuan wanted to take this City Well for himself. Because this secluded domain of heaven and earth would be a huge help to him when he develops his immortal aperture. Pulling Mountain Immortal GU. Fang Yuan began to try. But City Well only shook slightly. Pulling Mountain could pull out mountains, but City Well was not a mountain, although it was on the ground and needed earth chi. Strength Path Giant Hand. Fang Yuan tried to dig out City Well. However, once the giant hand got close to City Well, it rapidly shrank, like a burst bubble. In a few breaths' time, it was completely depleted. It seems that even though Shadow Sect has control of this secluded domain of heaven and earth, they cannot relocate it. Fang Yuan tried a few more times without success. His best attempt was the first time, the result was evident, he used Pulling Mountain Immortal GU and managed to make City Well shake slightly. In this case, Pulling Mountain Immortal GU is actually effective, but just Pulling Mountain alone is not enough. I need to think of an immortal killer move that can relocate this City Well. Realizing this, Fang Yuan could only give up for now. He entered the well. When he got to the bottom, his body became very small. Looting the battlefield, only Zhou Li and Tang Song had complete corpses. Fang Yuan put them into the sovereign immortal aperture. As for the other GU immortals, they were all meat paste. The Blood Path demonic immortal Ding Qi had self-detonated, but his Blood Path immortal aperture was left behind. Other than him, the other GU immortals also left behind their immortal apertures. Soon, the world inside the well started to stir. Heaven and earth chi burst out as blessed lands formed one by one. Fang Yuan spent a lot of time entering these blessed lands and exploring them. Forget about immortal GU. But there were quite a number of resources that were normally owned by Eastern Sea cultivators. These GU immortals were not as poor as Lu Qingyu, most of their assets were still around. Except the Blood Path demonic immortal Ding Qi, even all of the resources inside his immortal aperture were destroyed. Even so, Fang Yuan was a Blood Path Grandmaster, he had enough attainment level to annex Ding Qi's blessed land and expand the sovereign immortal aperture. Inside these blessed lands, some had land spirits, some did not. In the blessed lands without land spirits, Fang Yuan took away all of their resources. Those with land spirits were more troublesome, they needed to acknowledge him as their master, otherwise, Fang Yuan could not take away all of the resources inside. Of course, it was not impossible to just plunder it, but that was a short-term benefit disregarding the long-term gains. Fang Yuan thought about it, he did not use brute force. After spending some time in the well, he left and started to modify this bubble. The bubble had a sea and an island. City Well was in the middle of the island. Because of Ying Wuxie's arrangement, outsiders would directly end up at the bottom of the well when they went in. But Fang Yuan had Lu Qingyu's information, he did not fall for it. Instead, he used this trap to kill all the pursuers, he got rid of a lot of trouble. If Ying Wuxie knew that his arrangements not only failed to give Fang Yuan problems, they even provided huge help to him, would he spit out blood from anger? Fang Yuan preserved some of Ying Wuxie's arrangements, at the same time, he added in some of his own methods to conceal the bubble even more. Next, he left the bubble and directed the bubble to a new location. Not long ago, Ying Wuxie did the same thing. This bubble with City Well was not originally here. Ying Wuxie wanted to harm Fang Yuan, he spent a lot of time and effort to move this bubble here. Inside the current, Fang Yuan could not control where he went, he was washed away by it. Thankfully, he had the hidden room oyster, he could rest inside. Fang Yuan moved back and forth dozens of times before moving this bubble into another current. He spent more than 10 times the amount of immortal essence and time as Ying Wuxie. After completing this, Fang Yuan took a detour and went to Ying Wuxie's former camp. There, it was another island in a bubble. Fang Yuan entered deep underground, but Regret Pool was already taken apart by Ying Wuxie, even the surrounding GU formations were gone. The tributary of the River of Time that Shadow Sect had kept here was also missing. This was the special characteristic of the turbulent flow sea area, every current was constantly changing and moving. But with this, it is enough to befriend Miao Mingshen. Fang Yuan used his information path Mortal GU, sending it through Treasure Yellow Heaven. Chapter 1159, Development of the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Several days later, Fang Yuan waited for Immortal Wadai to arrive. There is a trace of the River of Time indeed, it is very recent. Immortal Wadai inspected and felt overjoyed. With this clue, she could definitely locate the tributary of the River of Time. Chu Ying, we have truly troubled you. To think that you really found this tributary of the River of Time, we searched for decades without finding any useful clues. Immortal Wadai was very excited, she could finally give Miao Mingshen good news. Go ahead and track it. I do not need any compensation, I might need Lord Miao Mingshen's help in the future. I will take my leave. Fang Yuan was understanding and kind, Immortal Wadai had a good impression of him. Before leaving, she advised again, be careful, Blood Path demonic Immortal Ding Qi has appeared, engaging in battle with Zhou Li and Tang Song. If you meet them, you should avoid them, there is no need to get involved in this. Fairy, I will remember your words, thank you. Fang Yuan showed a moved expression. Immortal Wadai had no idea, it was this person who had killed Ding Qi, Zhou Li, Tang Song, and everyone else. But the turbulent flow sea area was very complex, it was normal that they all went missing, nobody felt anything strange. There were often GU immortals who went missing for months or years before appearing suddenly again. Half a month later, Fang Yuan returned to Langya Blessed Land. In this journey to Eastern Sea, even though his goal was not achieved, he had great gains. In the Cloud City's secret room, Fang Yuan quietly sat as his divine sense activated, inspecting his entire sovereign immortal aperture. The sovereign immortal aperture had changed greatly. In the past, it was barren and empty. But now, it had a lot of resources. At a glance, it was no longer so empty and boring. Actually, all of these resources that Fang Yuan gathered could not fit inside ordinary blessed lands. But the sovereign immortal aperture was simply too huge, after placing these resources, there was still a lot of space left. In many northern plains, half the area was covered in snow and frost. The other half had green grass. On this grassland, Fang Yuan placed a few desolate beasts, like the giant horned sheep and shark fin wolf that he had since long ago. In many western desert, there were already 11 eerie fire dragon python dens. Because of his aperture's rate of time being at 60 times, along with Dongfang tribe's superb method of rearing, the eerie fire dragon pythons were reproducing at a rapid rate. In many Eastern Sea, Fang Yuan had created several artificial lakes, putting dragonfish groups, air bubble fish groups, literature carp groups and others. Now, with more of the common resources obtained from killing the Eastern Sea GU immortals, he had great gains. Even though they were not particularly precious, the quantity was high, he could develop using this foundation. In many central continent, there was a huge area of mirror willows, it had formed a giant forest spanning 100 li. Speaking of which, Fang Yuan had originally planted mirror willows inside Hu Immortal Blessed Land. After relocating them, these mirror willows were moved into many central continent. And because of the sovereign immortal aperture's time flow, although Fang Yuan had never put effort in them, with just their own growth rate, the forest reached this scale. Other than mirror willows, many central continent also had a huge underground blood G forest, its scale was only smaller than the mirror willows. Many central continent was too huge, mirror willows and the blood G forest had no competitors, they could grow freely. The most flourishing region was Mini Southern Border, which was overflowing with life. The resources obtained from Heifan Grotto Heaven were mostly relocated here. However, Mini Southern Border was not filled up. Large numbers of musical trees and tea streams were seen. There were also the Chi Death bird groups bringing immense vitality to Mini Southern Border. More than 10 mountains had appeared in Mini Southern Border already. The tallest mountain was Five Light Mountain. It was bright and grand, followed by Immortal Succession Mountain. It had many stone pavilions on it. The scenery was good. Mini Southern Border's most important resource was the Regretful Spider group. It had already grown in scale multiple times already. Above the 5 regions were the 9 heavens. In Mini Orange Heaven, there were profound lights. They were emitting from the flowing light fruits. This was the result of Fang Yuan's previous effort in farming them. In Mini Yellow Heaven, there was a gold fragment river. It was not big, but better than nothing. In Mini Azure Heaven, there was azure fog. It was the pill azure incense that Fang Yuan bought. There was also the storage pool of the heavenly crystals. It was temporarily placed here without any use. In Mini Blue Heaven, large clouds were floating with star fragment grass and arrow bamboo forests on them, producing star path mortal GU for Fang Yuan. There was also a young ancient desolate beast falling star hound. It was saved by Fang Yuan and was playing around in Mini Blue Heaven. In Mini Purple Heaven, the heavenly crystal eagle nest was eaten by the upper extreme heavenly eagle. Only an upper extreme heavenly eagle egg was left. There were also some heavenly crystal fragments. These were all exchanged from Langya land spirit. In Mini Black Heaven, there was a walking meat tree. In Mini White Heaven, there were 3 remnant heavenly dogs, and a group of eagle hounds, as well as some multicolored overlord flowers. The light was making the environment quite conducive already. Earlier, because Fang Yuan killed some light path GU immortals, the light path Dao marks in the immortal aperture had increased. Unfortunately, I did not bring back City Well into the sovereign immortal aperture. Fang Yuan was still thinking about City Well, inside the turbulent flow sea area. Even though City Well was damaged greatly, Fang Yuan could use landscape as before to restore it. The destroyed buildings could not be repaired, but minuscule mountain could definitely be reformed. It turned out that this legendary mountain had been destroyed during the Battle of Yitian Mountain when Fairy Li Shan died. However, Fang Yuan thought of a way to restore it. According to less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, minuscule mountain was a part of City Well. If I had City Well, I could raise large numbers of variant human groups inside the well. It is a pity. There were 3 stages in managing an immortal aperture. The initial stage was when the GU immortal grows enough resources to fulfill the needs of their immortal goose food. The middle stage would be to develop more resources in addition to the immortal goose food, to help the GU immortal in cultivation while also selling them for immortal essence stones. The upper stage would be raising variant humans inside the immortal aperture, or even humans. This had huge significance to the GU immortal and has many benefits as well. For example, earlier, Fang Yuan bought hairy man slaves in Hu immortal blessed land to refine GU for himself. This saved him a lot of time and effort. Among the other variant humans, Minimen could grow flowers and grass, rockmen could develop underground space, snowmen could produce ice tiers and survive in the icy plains. Purebred humans had the greatest intelligence. They could reproduce rapidly and create things with their wisdom. Large numbers of GU recipes and killer moves could be created without the GU immortal making deductions themselves. If one developed well, the immortal aperture might even have GU immortals or human GU immortals. They would be extremely loyal because they grew up in there. This would be a great help for the immortal aperture's owner. Currently, Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture was at the initial stage. Because he had gained a few more immortal GU, and had not fulfilled their feeding needs. Attitude GU, Wisdom Sword immortal GU, and the other rank 8 immortal GU were hard to feed. Fang Yuan could only devise a plan. He had solved a portion of them, but these problems were not resolved yet. However, in terms of the middle stage, he had incredible achievements. Because he had obtained countless resources from Starform Blessed Land, Dongfang Tribe, and Heifan Grotto Heaven. Most normal resources, like Star Path Mortal GU, Regretful Spiders, Musical Trees and others, they were all sold outside and provided profits. Not to mention Danghun Mountain, Guts GU has always been Fang Yuan's greatest source of profit. It earned him revenue daily. Horses need extra grass to grow healthy, humans need windfalls to get rich. What made Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture so wealthy were the countless windfalls that he had obtained. And these resources were Fang Yuan's great assurance in cultivating. Without these resources, no matter how high Fang Yuan's battle strength was, he would not feel assured. Currently, Fang Yuan could not raise variant humans in large numbers. Of course, he could do the same thing as in Immortal Blessed Land, buying large numbers of variant humans to work inside the Immortal Aperture for him. But that was not the proper way. The true way was to allow these variant humans to grow and reproduce naturally. They would be real members of the Immortal Aperture, living inside peacefully. Only like this, they could grow healthily and produce great profits in the future. If he bought variant human slaves and made them work, Fang Yuan would only incur losses. He had already learned this lesson in Immortal Blessed Land. Fang Yuan's stone nests had hairy man slaves dying from GU refinement almost every day. The hairy man slaves had no time to reproduce or rest, their numbers dwindled. Fang Yuan could only make a loss as he continued to buy slaves to replenish them. However, if he had City Well, it would be different. City Well was a special environment isolated from the outside world. It was very suited for raising humans or variant humans. The reproduction and deaths of variant humans inside City Well would also have an effect of nourishing and elevating City Well itself. Forget about this mystical property for now. All in all, with City Well, Fang Yuan could instantly start his upper stage developments while still in the initial stage. He would obtain great gains. This would undoubtedly allow his cultivation journey to be smoother, and his cultivation level would grow many times faster. Fang Yuan ended his inspection of the sovereign Immortal Aperture. There were areas where he was pleased, and areas where he was not satisfied. What made Fang Yuan satisfied was, the sovereign Immortal Aperture's Dao marks had grown favorably. For example, Earth Path Dao marks, even though they were still lacking, they had improved greatly compared to earlier. He was not satisfied with the fact that other than mini southern border, the rest of the regions were still quite empty and had little resources. The sovereign Immortal Aperture was just too big. Having huge space was a good problem. The current situation would cause conflict between his resources in the future. For example, the mirror willows, they were growing rapidly in mini central continent. If another type of plant also grew quickly, and the two types met, an intense conflict would occur. Conflict between plants was quite mild. But what about beast groups? If two fierce beast groups met, wouldn't they fight to the death? If the blessed land was small, the GU Immortal could adjust it quickly. But Fang Yuan's blessed land was too big. By the time he noticed their conflict, his losses would be severe. To prevent this situation, Fang Yuan could only start planning early with great foresight. The sovereign Immortal Aperture was not easy to manage. Fang Yuan not only had to consider his current gains, he also had to think about the future. Chapter 1160, Qi Luck Sensation is ineffective. In conclusion, Fang Yuan's sovereign Immortal Aperture had already grown much, but it still needed a lot of development work. The sovereign Immortal Aperture had too much potential. It had 5 regions and 9 heavens. Even mini southern border, which had taken in all of Heifan Grotto Heaven's resources, could not be filled up. Nobody would believe this story. And every layer of the 9 heavens had the size of all 5 regions combined. Fang Yuan had already noticed that the development of the sovereign Immortal Aperture would be a vast and unparalleled project. Up until now, out of 100%, his current developments could barely be considered to make up 2% completion. Were it not for me being the person involved and witnessing this myself, how could I possibly believe that such an Immortal Aperture exists in this world? Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, Shadow Sect, and Zombie Alliance planned for 100,000 years to obtain this. I took this from them. This conflict is truly irreconcilable. Sigh, it is a pity even though in this trip, I managed to deal a blow to Ying Wuxia's group, it could not truly shake their foundation. Fang Yuan sighed when he thought of this. In the dark secret room, he sat quietly, his hair hung down to his waist, his skin was pure like jade, his eyes were unfathomably dark like an abyss, as cold light flashed in them occasionally. After adjusting his breathing, Fang Yuan mobilized his immortal essence, using an immortal killer move. Qi Luck Sensation. At once, a feeling spread out from Fang Yuan's body. If he had Luck Inspection Immortal GU, Fang Yuan would be able to see his huge luck shaking above his head. Fang Yuan started to feel vague spots of sensation appearing one by one. Western Desert. The sun was blazing hot, causing steam to rise up from the sandy ground. A pursuit of life and death was engaging here. Rascal, you actually dare to snatch the GU worm that is bandits want. Don't let me catch you, I will tear you to pieces, and use your skin as a lantern cover. Surrender, obediently hand over polished gold GU, and you might have a chance to live. A large group of GU masters with an imposing aura were chasing Han Li, who was running in front of them. Han Li had extremely great luck. When he was alone, his luck could be low at times, but after it was connected, it had been very stable. he cultivated for a period of time, he had rank 3 cultivation level now. Elder level. In the GU Master world, he could already hold his own. He was neither a beginner rank 1 nor a cannon fodder rank 2. Rank 3 cultivation level was elite in the GU Master world. However, in his current situation, 3 of the pursuers had rank 3 cultivation level, the rest were rank 2 and 1. Han Li could only run. His primeval essence fell rapidly, his injuries were becoming a burden, blood was oozing out. With every breath he took, Han Li endured pain that felt like a fire was burning his chest. But such pain could not make him let go. Right now, he was holding on to that polished gold GU. My aptitude is not high enough, even though I have fortuitous encounters, in the long term, they are unreliable. This polished gold GU can increase my aptitude, it can grant me a brighter future. I need to push on. Only by betting my life on it, can I have a chance to get stronger in the future. Han Li breathed roughly, he was extremely tired, but his legs moved like the wind, his running speed did not slow down at all. His eyes were burning with fire. Southern border. Water flowed down the lush green mountain. Yi Fan shouted loudly, as his body suddenly grew to twice of his original size, he was tall and extraordinary. Multicolored lights were shining out of his muscles and pores, his eyes were radiating with bright light, he was truly grand and elegant. Under the shocked gaze of his opponent, he punched with both fists like an unstoppable warrior, his aura was incredibly powerful. Rumble. Yi Fan took huge steps forward, everywhere he went, light shone as rocks shattered and streams dried, his enemies were forced back by him without any chance of retaliating. Cough, cough, Shang Clan's Yi Fan, you live up to your reputation. This time, we, the 18 Sons of Wine Village admit defeat. The leader of the enemies spat out blood, even though he wanted to get up, he could not. The other 17 GU masters were also lying on the ground, some had fainted while others were grunting, even though they could not fight anymore, they stared at Yi Fan with intense hatred. Yi Fan slowly adjusted his stance, he let out a breath, his huge body shrunk back to its original size. He looked at his opponents on the ground, saying calmly, according to the rules, you 18 Sons of Wine Village are not to take a step onto this mountain again. This is now Shang Clan's territory. HMPH, don't worry, we might be lone cultivators, but we lost this contest fair and square, we will keep our word. The leader replied firmly. Yi Fan nodded, he rubbed his hands together, as jade green light shone on the 18 Sons of Wine Village. They first shook in anxiety, but soon, they found that their injuries were rapidly recovering. Soon, the 18 Sons of Wine Village stood up, they were able to move again. The 18 Sons of Wine Village looked at Yi Fan with more relaxed expressions now. Ever since Yi Fan accepted GU Immortal Shang Qingqing's GU Master Inheritance, his cultivation level might not have risen much, but his overall strength had grown drastically, he had methods in all aspects, and did not have a visible flaw. When Shang Xinxi first became clan leader, Shang Clan's mortal sector had lots of internal and external problems. It was Yi Fan who stood up and helped Shang Xinxi resolve her problems. Right now, Yi Fan chased away the 18 Sons of Wine Village, he helped Shang Clan open up a new trade route and eased her political pressure. The leader sighed, cupping his fists, Yi Fan, you are very strong, but you let us off in the end. We brothers will accept this favor, as long as you are in Shang Clan, we will not target it. However, if you want to open up the trade route, we are only the third hurdle, you have 2 more obstacles ahead. I understand, any GU master in these 2 rounds would be stronger than all of you combined. Yi Fan nodded expressionlessly. He had a lot of information, Shang Clan was a huge force, Shang Xinxi would not restrict Yi Fan in this aspect. But the leader's following words made Yi Fan's expression change, hee. Yi Fan, be careful. These 2 obstacles have changed, not long ago, White Demon appeared and defeated those lone cultivators. Right now, she has already gathered all the GU masters in these 2 rounds, becoming the mastermind. If you arrived a day later, we would have surrendered to White Demon as well. White Demon? You mean, the Black and White Demons? Yi Fan's eyes shined brightly. The leader of the 18 Sons of Wine Village nodded. If it were not a famous demonic cultivator like White Demon, why would those lone cultivators submit? She has unfathomable strength, I would advise you to consider it thoroughly. Shang Xinxi's image appeared in Yi Fan's mind, before He too appeared in his mind. No, his body shook with determination, he spoke plainly, with an indisputable tone, I will go. Central Continent, in a nameless cave, don't come here, don't come here. Hong Yi's clothes were torn, his muscular chest was exposed. A morbidly obese female GU master chuckled as she approached him, little sweetheart, can you escape? You have ended up in my hands, accept your fate. Just submit to me, ha ha ha. Whoosh. With a soft sound, Hong Yi's clothes were all stripped away. The female GU master jumped, about to press on him. No, Hong Yi screamed in fear. At the moment of crisis, he unleashed 200% of his potential. He broke the seal on his body and pushed the female GU master away. Impossible. How could you break the seal I created? The female GU master was startled and angered. That is because I am here. A Miniman GU master appeared on Hong Yi's shoulder. You finally came. Hong Yi was about to cry. We got the thing, let's go. The Miniman whispered. The female GU master's expression changed. She sensed something amiss, the muscles on her fat face distorted. So that's it. You two came here to steal my ecstasy water. Hong Yi, Yi Fan, Han Li. Even though Fang Yuan could not see their experiences, he could sense their locations and differentiate them. Because of their relationship from Connect Luck, Chi Luck Sensation could detect them across all 5 regions. However, He Lulan and Ying Wuxie were nowhere to be found. From this, Fang Yuan concluded that Ying Wuxie indeed had a way to conceal his own luck connection. Actually, so be it if he does. But Ying Wuxie as a person is maturing, he will be much more problematic to deal with in the future. This was why, there was no strongest immortal GU, only strongest GU immortal. The GU immortal was the core. Ying Wuxie's matured mind, in Fang Yuan's opinion, was far scarier than whatever strong immortal GU he had. The other party can deal with Chi Luck Sensation, then in the future, I can only reduce the number of times I use this immortal killer move. After all, this was an immortal killer move, it required green grape immortal essence to activate. Once it was used frequently, even Fang Yuan could not bear the cost. This trip to Eastern Sea was rather successful, but his green grape immortal essence stockpile had already reduced sharply, he needed to replenish it. From Fang Yuan's perspective, the best situation was that he could find Ying Wuxie's location and exert pressure on him, or even kill him to get rid of the threat entirely. But currently, the situation was not as he wished. Fang Yuan thought about it, he could only choose the best alternative and focus on raising his strength. But he knew deeply, there was only one true inheritance of He Fan, but Shadow Sect has remnant forces in all 5 regions. In this trip to Eastern Sea, I did not get rid of Ying Wuxie. The next time we meet, they might already greatly surpass me in strength. Shadow Sect did not lack resources, and they had at least 4 GU immortals on their side. Right now, Fang Yuan could only do his best and develop. When they met again, hopefully, he would not be left in the dust by Ying Wuxie and the rest. Fang Yuan took out Perceivable Dao Immortal GU. This rank 6 Information Path GU worm was now healthy and strong, it gave off an alluring light, it had been saved by Fang Yuan. Breathing in deeply, Fang Yuan started to activate this Immortal GU.